1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The word 13 and seconds is usually the same paragraph. Maggie gets very angry.
Kicker's missing 46-yarders. It happens. Gets a
is that Scott Norwood? Oh. Can I ask a Bills question?
Sure.
Would you rather lose that way than Norwood miss field goal or lose 52-17 to the Cowboys? Which is the preferable way to go down?
Thank you.
I'm genuinely curious.
I'm sure you are genuinely curious.
Because I remember when my Eagles played
for a decade, and you waited till right now to ask me that question.
Well, I just thinking back to the Eagles-Patriots, I didn't get to experience that, so I want to know what it's like as a fan.
I mean, Eagles-Patriots the first time. What's it like when your quarterback pukes in the huddle? Yeah. What is that like? Perloff got me better.
No, I know, but it still stopped me in my tracks. Trying to come back. I'm about to cry.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Wow, almost had another upset in the NCAA tournament, but third-seeded Xavier hangs on against Kennesaw State. And that was a close one, particularly for me because I have Xavier in the championship game, losing to Alabama. So I sweat that out. Hello, welcome to Maggie and Perloff. So glad to have you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy second day of the NCAA tournament. On the men's side day, got a lot going on here, Perloff.
Yeah, I was really depressed about my bracket, but now I think I'm more depressed about your bracket because I have Houston and Marcus Sasser sat out the second half yesterday for Houston, which makes me nervous.
Yep.
But Xavier, that did not look like a team that is destined to go all the way.
No. That was close.
Sometimes you have to look at history. You can overcome an early loss like that and turn it around. Now,
well, not a loss, but an early close one.
An early close game.
And
also Alabama, with Brandon Miller maybe being hurt too, I don't feel great about them. I have them going far as well.
Yep.
It's just this whole tournament, and based on yesterday watching Princeton, Arizona, watching even last night Houston against Northern Kentucky, whoever that is.
Yeah, you were like surprised. Northern Kentucky looked like a Power 5 team.
To me, and maybe I say this every year, but all the lower seeds or the underdogs look just as good as the favorites. There does not seem to be a big separation between mid-major and major right now.
No, I mean, Kennesaw State, they looked massive. They gave Xavier all they could handle. Right now we got Baylor and UC Santa Barbara, obviously a big Jim Rome favorite. They are under 10 minutes left to go, and Baylor holding a 7-point lead. We'll keep you updated on all that stuff, but yes.
If you could have a mulligan already, I know we're only a few hours in, but I know that there's no way you can have a sense. Would you redo your bracket altogether? Because I would.
Yes, I definitely would. Xavier did not look good. No.
No, and it's funny.
But they're in the same region as Houston in the Midwest, so maybe both teams look a little shaky.
But one thing that is good, if you have Arizona going far, if you look at that bracket, they lost to Princeton last night, but it's one of those brackets nobody's going to get. Nobody has Missouri in the Final Four. Nobody has, I don't even know if they won. Just saying, generally, they did. Nobody is going to get that bracket right. So you're not dead, even if you think you are right now. Don't you agree with that?
I agree. There's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
Even if you had Arizona, it's going to be tougher now. Let's hear a little bit of how that sounded yesterday. Right after we got off the air, 15-seeded Princeton takes down 2nd-seeded Arizona.
The horn is going to sound. The Princeton Magic is alive and well. The Princeton Tigers upset Arizona. 15 over a 2, 59-55 is the final score. The Tigers will advance to the second round.
Thank you to the Westwood One NCAA radio network for that and for all the sound you're going to hear today from the tournament. But I know, another team from New Jersey, another 15 seed.
Yeah, but Princeton,
St. Peter's last year?
They're playing right to type. Their shorts look like they're right out of 1985. They're way too small.
Yeah.
They athletically, they don't look like they match up. They're not big, and they just play the sound offense. It reminds me of Pete Carrill back in the day.
I know.
And if I'm sitting there watching yesterday, I said, Arizona, you cannot fall for this Princeton crap right now. I mean,
crap.
Listen, when I lit up,
hell of a way to interpret it.
Oh, come on. When I lit up Princeton JV back in the 90s, you think we would see that backdoor cut coming from a mile away? But that's this tournament. Is there going to be a 15-2 upset every year now? We had, as you mentioned, St. Peter's earlier.
Yep, last year.
I'm angry.
Why?
I want to rip up my
Wait,
bracket.
but hold on.
I just don't like any of this.
So you want just all the Bluebloods to just go straight into the Sweet 16 or Elite 8? That's no fun.
I want my Bluebloods. I don't care about. I'm not one of those guys who roots for Cinderellas. I want to be proven right. Although I do feel good about one, as I fully confessed on yesterday's show. Former Villanova coach Steve Lappis's advice to go Duke. I took it,
Duke
and they looked amazing.
Duke is still a blue blood, even if they're a 5th seed. It's Duke, for goodness sake.
I have this little underdog out of Durham, North Carolina, going very far.
Never heard of them.
And I have University of Houston as my other team. They're a bit of an underdog, even though they're a number 1 seed.
Number 1 seed.
They're University of Houston. They're not North Carolina.
It doesn't count, Perloff. You got a Cinderella's got to be at least 12 or higher, right? From the 12th seed on up to 16.
Yeah, I guess you're right. One thing again, we mentioned earlier, Northern Kentucky. How come Northern Kentucky's front line is 6'9", 6'10", and 7 feet tall? They look like they could compete in the Western Conference right now. I don't get it. Very, very upset. But this has been a lot of fun, a great start to the tournament. I enjoyed watching you sweat Xavier. I have Xavier going to the 8. You're trying to play it cool.
Well, this is what's funny because, I'm not going to pretend that I'm like, know everything about Xavier's depth chart or whatever. It's like, go number 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, you told me to watch out for number 2.
Go 0.
Like you're an assistant coach.
I know.
And there was a kind of obvious loose ball foul with 2 seconds left. You're like, that's not a foul.
Listen, Gene Steratore, guest on this show.
Yeah.
Very popular in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Gene Steratore, who's doing the rules official, right, for CBS, does it for the NFL, is now working the NCAA tournament. He said that was not a foul. He would not have called it.
Oh,
classic Gene.
You were, classic Gene. You were less biased about the Edwin Diaz Mets injury than you were about that foul. He could have basically taken a full swing and punched him in the stomach. You'd be like, that was nothing.
Come on, it's Xavier basketball. That's just how they play.
That's how Xavier rolls.
Yeah, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227, taking calls on the NCAA tournament today. We'll keep you updated on all the latest. Again, if you'd like to listen to us across the country on CBS Sports Radio, that's awesome. You can also watch us, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, where Two-Ton Tony has alerted me that I look like the Incredible Hulk today because I'm wearing green.
We're both wearing green. I think that's Kelly green. You have the right green. I have sort of an olive green, which is doing nothing.
I know. I wore that color last year, and I believe I was told that doesn't count.
Yeah, sorry.
So tables are turned, Perloff. Boo hiss.
I don't know. There's a lot going on today. It being a Friday, St. Patrick's Day, the tournament. I had trouble focusing.
Right. So you got near green. You got green, just not the right shade.
Yes.
No excuses. Come on. Stu and I came up with the right green. Stu's wearing his Notre Dame Fighting Irish shirt.
It's the only green shirt I own, to be honest with you.
And the women's Irish team is in the tournament, so there you go.
Yeah.
The men, no dice.
Stu, how's your bracket doing?
Not very well. Of the 16 games yesterday, I got 5 correct, so we're off to a good start.
There you go.
I still have my Final 4 at least, but other than that, it's not looking too great.
You're going to be fine.
I mean, if you tried to get 11 wrong, that would be hard.
Yeah, very. That's what I thought, too.
Well done, Stu. We're all counting on you. Okay, we have some updates for you from the NFL world. We've got Allen Lazard. the newest member of, speaking of green, the New York Jets, Gang Green. He was introduced to the media today, had this to say about the Jets' expectations with Aaron Rodgers at the helm now.
With Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, the possibility of wins always a thing. And with that being said, like, it's really the Super Bowl. I think that's, especially at the point of his career and everything and his ability. I mean, 4-time MVP winner. His caliber of play automatically elevates everybody's potential and abilities on the field immediately.
Okay. Well, Rodgers isn't technically a part of the Jets yet, but Lazard obviously talking very confidently there, as he should. It's going to happen. But it's funny because, Perloff, you and I were talking about, Rodgers and Super Bowl expectations for the Jets, and we started thinking, like, all right, if you're ranking the top quarterbacks in the AFC,
yes,
would Aaron Rodgers be in your top 5?
He's in mine.
He is in yours.
Yes. It's close.
He is not in mine.
Yeah, I mean, it's close. Don't get me wrong. It's not a layup.
And I think that the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. But if I'm ranking the top 5 quarterbacks in the AFC, again, it's close. And I know Rodgers had like a broken thumb last year.
Wait. What did you just say right before that? Did you say Jets are going to the playoffs or Super Bowl?
Well, I said if we're talking Super Bowl. And I still think they could go to the Super Bowl. I think that's the expectation.
Yeah,
but I don't have Rodgers as the top 5 quarterback in the conference.
That's so weird, though. You're exactly right. I mean, if you sign Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl makes sense. That's got to be the goal, at least. But you could easily argue. So I have him as number 4.
Okay, so go through your top 5 list. Wait, do we need some Stu? I hate to do this to you. Stu is working as a one-man band today. Every time we ask you to do something, I feel like you're spinning plates already, and now we're like, here, Stu, can you also quickly handle this anvil that I'm about to hand to you? Yeah. We've got to be careful on Stu today. He's only one man.
This is going to be super tricky, and I don't think you're going to like my top 5, and I don't like it either. But I have Patrick Mahomes number 1. Not super.
Wait, you're not going to count down from 5?
No, because I have Rodgers 4, so I want to explain. Yeah.
Number 1.
I'm going to go 1 through 5. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Joe Burrow, that is, Josh Allen. Then I got 4 Rodgers.
Yeah.
I don't know where. So then it gets really tricky. I'm going to go off the board 1 wild card pick and say Deshaun Watson 5th.
Really? Okay, so we're doing this going into next year, not like off of last year, but who's going to be the best?
Yeah, so I looked at, and I'll let you do yours because there's 2 names that are right there with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, so my number 1 is Mahomes, 2 is Burrow, 3 is Allen, so you and I are the exact same at the top.
Yeah.
4, I put Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he's my tied for 5th or 6th.
And 5, I put Trevor Lawrence, and the only reason I did that is because I mentioned Tua, and Perloff shamed me out of it.
Well, what about Lamar Jackson?
We don't know where he's playing next year. Is he playing in the AFC? That was my out.
I needed an out, too. Okay, I didn't want to do Lamar Jackson. So, but do you really think that right now Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson? I
think going into this season, third-year Trevor Lawrence made the playoffs in his second year, erased a 24-0 hole in the playoffs. I think Trevor Lawrence is like, we're watching it now. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I
trust him.
I just know Deshaun Watson's really good.
I know Deshaun Watson's good, too, but he wasn't good last year.
But he hadn't played for 2 years, and he wasn't bad.
Right.
He was kind of which is amazing considering he came in midseason on a team that was sort of falling apart. I don't even know who he was throwing to last year. Njoku was probably about it. So, yeah, believe me, I understand what you're saying. Also, I don't know that if you had peak Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, he was a top 5 quarterback when he was peak.
As good as Justin Herbert. So I think what we're saying is Deshaun Watson's not going to peak again. And I think there's a good reason to say that. All that baggage could easily weigh on him, and the team isn't great.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is right there for me. No, that's not radical. But you don't think...
I was going to put Tua in there. The problem is with Tua is I don't know how many games he's going to play.
Well, is Tua there because of his weapons or because of Tua? If you put Aaron Rodgers in Miami, then...
But that's like chicken and the egg stuff. Yes, the reason why I put Herbert there is because I think he's the better overall quarterback than Tua. He's got a better arm. Justin Herbert might have the best arm in the league. But, Tua's great, Tua's great. That offense was incredible when he was healthy.
That offense, was he great, though?
I thought so.
He was good. Okay. I think if Aaron Rodgers, first of all, he's going to be mad. You said this yesterday.
Yeah, talk about Incredible Hulk. He's going to look like that.
He follows the Brett Favre formula. And Brett Favre, his first year, stunk with the Jets, got hurt halfway through the year, but was just unbelievable the second year. And I think you're going to see a high touchdown, low interception season.
Well, Aaron Rodgers always is low interception.
Yeah, so that's going to really push him above the edge. And you have this good defense. I think you're going to get 32 touchdowns, 8 picks from Aaron Rodgers, which I think gets him into this list this year.
Listen, it's right there. The motivation, it's funny about the Rodgers and the motivation, because you're right. I think that when he has the chip on his shoulder, he obviously plays really well. Yet at the same time, he did say he was 90% retired going into the darkness retreat. Yeah. It's not like he said I was 50-50. He said it was 90-10.
Favre retired twice and threw 33 touchdowns and 7 picks. Twice he retired, literally retired.
Okay, but Favre, that's not everybody, right?
But they're the same person, apparently.
Well, I don't think they're the same person. But I wonder if other things for Rodgers, like, is he going to want to show up to the offseason program?
Yeah.
Is, how 100% all in is he? I think it's, far be it from me to question his motivation, but there also is a part of Rodgers where it's like, all right, this is also the swan song.
Maybe, but it could also be the Tom Brady to Tampa Bay situation. One reason I'm actually confident that Rodgers will play well is that Nathaniel Hackett is there. Not that Nathaniel Hackett is the genius that Aaron Rodgers says he is.
No.
But he knows the terminology. He knows the offense. Everyone's got to learn it.
Here's the thing
He's going to be comfortable.
The Hackett offenses, okay? Yeah. Like, let's really drill down.
Yeah.
When he's been offensive coordinator and when he hasn't had Aaron Rodgers, besides the 1 year in Jacksonville, these have not been awesome offenses in terms of the numbers.
So who cares? So with Aaron Rodgers, he's totally fine. He's good.
Yeah, but okay.
The point is Rodgers will not have to figure out a Josh McDaniels offense. He's not going to. So there's no reason he should take a giant drop off of last year, which was all messy anyway because of his broken finger. What kind of season do you expect out of Rodgers? I'm not saying, forget Super Bowl, but do you think he'll be a good Aaron Rodgers, medium Aaron Rodgers?
I expect bleep you Aaron Rodgers. I really do.
That's MVP.
Yeah. Will it actually be an MVP?
That's not fourth best in the AFC. That's outplaying Josh Allen. That's outplaying Joe Burrow.
Well, here's the thing, though. Even if I'm expecting bleep you Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if I know he won the MVP 2 years ago and 3 years ago, but at this point, can he be better than Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes? Even at his peak right now, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, and a lot of these guys in the AFC, quite frankly, cancel each other out. And I also think Brady should have won the MVP 2 years ago, not Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean...
They were 1 and 2, and Rodgers got it at the end, but I thought that Brady should have gotten it.
Right. They were kind of like a Jokic Embiid situation. It really doesn't matter. They were about the same. You could argue either way. I agree with that. But here's the other thing, too. Are the Bills going to be a little worse this year?
They haven't done much in free agency.
When you're paying your quarterback $180 million, that tends to happen.
Yeah, that tends to happen. Are the Bills better? No, they're not. They're not better. But if Von Miller can stay healthy, which is a big if, and if they find... No, they're not better. And I don't know what they're going to do at running back. If James Cook, they're actually going to try to run the ball a little bit more this year. But no, I cannot say confidently that the Bills are better.
But you're not paying. Did they cut Isaiah McKenzie? Yeah.
It's fine. They got the guy from who was at New Orleans. It's the same thing. Isaiah McKenzie became unreliable.
Yeah.
That's why they had to bring back Cole Beasley at the end of the year.
So regardless of what we think of this AFC list, it is pure gold compared to the NFC, which we'll do later.
Yeah, we'll do our NFC top 5. Looks a little bit different.
I think we could go 9 deep in the NFC before we got to, the AFC before we got to number 1 in the NFC.
You know what? You're kind of right. I don't know if it's 9 deep, but it's definitely only one player on my NFC would have cracked my top 8, I think, in the AFC.
Yep, me too.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We'll get to our NFC list in just a moment. We'll keep you updated on everything going on. Baylor pulling away from UC Santa Barbara. So we've got that going on. We also have some under-the-radar NFL moves we have to get. I just assume everyone's drunk already. Is that bad for me?
You're not drunk, though.
No, I'm not. But it's just after 3 o'clock Eastern time. It's St. Patrick's Day. I'm assuming everyone's pretty lit.
Nah, okay.
Wrong assumption?
For me, St. Patrick's Day and New Year's Day is a little bit of amateur hour for for stay-at-home drinkers, which is actually most of America right now. So I would probably assume Friday any week.
It pretty much looks like this.
Yeah, I'm not
Everyone's
sure.
working from home, so
what's our chat called right now?
The Weedos and the Purple Drinkers?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, the laws have loosened up most of the country, and they take full advantage of that. Love you guys. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, we're glad that we're along with you today. Give us a call. Again, 855-212-4227. We're back in a minute on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. I am desperate to talk anything except college basketball right now because I'm so depressed about my stinking bracket, Maggie.
Well, I'm sorry. We're going to keep talking about college basketball.
Yeah, I need some wins today. I need a strong day two. You don't win or lose the tournament in day one unless you had Arizona or Virginia in the Final Four. And you almost went down with the ship today with Xavier. Phew.
Dodged a bullet. Xavier pulls out a win over Kennesaw State.
I feel really good about Duke, by the way. And I know they're probably losing the next round, but, man, did they look like a juggernaut last night.
Yeah, taking down Oral Roberts, who had been one of the hottest teams in the country. Like, all right, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Baylor, it is official. They win over UC Santa Barbara, so Baylor through to the second round, and we'll keep you updated on all the latest. Apologies to Jim Rome, big UCSB guy.
Yeah, I'm showing off our Scott Drew signed basketball here.
Yeah, I remember when he came in, he had actually, before he got here, had Googled where Perloff and I both went to college, which I thought was a little, not psycho, but like bordering on, just to see what our allegiances were before he walked in the studio.
Well, he was sitting out in the green room waiting for Bob Huggins to be done berating us.
Bob Huggins, who definitely did not Google us before he came in.
Bob Huggins.
Nice enough guy, but
he put a little bit of a dipsy-do on us because he was so nice before the interview started. It's like, oh, yeah, no, love New York, love New York. First question. Why are you asking me that?
Yeah, yeah, he did.
He was messing with us from day one, and like you could see him half laughing after every response. But he was great. Scott Drew's he's our guy basically. He knows where I went to college, and I'll take that as calling him one of my best friends.
Yeah, he tried to guess by virtue of guessing the college basketball coach who was at my alma mater at the time. Therefore, deeply offending me because it was a college basketball coach who was there long before I got to GW. So thank you, coach, for thinking that I was 45. I'm not even 40 yet, so I was deeply offended.
Can't most people only name one GW coach anyway?
Yeah, so I wasn't there when Mike Jarvis was there.
Even someone in the business would not know that.
Said, oh, so you were there with Mike Jarvis? And like inside, I was like,
yeah, no. Who succeeded Mike Jarvis? Anyone well known?
No. Well, Carl Hobbs, who was there.
Oh, Carl Hobbs.
Yes.
Hobbsy.
He's a Rutgers assistant.
Yeah, he was a wonderful philosopher, as I recall, too.
Something like that. Let's go to our pal Jay is in Alabama, wants to talk about Aaron Rodgers. We're Perloff and I debating a little bit on what kind of motivation Rodgers is going to have.
Wait, can I just say real quick? Jay definitely knows all about Thomas Hobbes and Hobbesian philosophy. Am I right, Jay? Jay, you know what I was talking about.
Thomas Hobbes, actually, no. We have a Hobbes Island out here, but you probably got me on that one. But
okay. But yeah, I thought you read philosophy
I know,
for
Jay
fun.
I thought you did the great philosophers. We were talking about
Kant and all these
Thomas
people.
Paine.
Yeah, Thomas Paine, but I don't know everything now. I don't claim to be a know-it-all. Don't give me the title.
Jay, you know more than us.
Don't put me. Nah, come on now. Don't set me up for failure right there.
Oh, dude, so sorry.
We would never do that. Jay, what's on your mind about Rodgers?
No, okay. First of all, happy Thanksgiving. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Everybody in the chat, lay off the green beer. I know you purple drinkers and you smokers. Lay off the green beer. You're gonna have green diarrhea in the morning, or you might have diarrhea of the mouth by the night if you don't slow down. You guys know who I'm talking to.
Yeah, but Jay is his own philosopher because that was wise. Yes,
it's very wise, but because I've been there before, so okay. But anyways, as far as Aaron Rodgers, what is his motive? I don't know what his motivation is, and it is irritating. Do I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl? No. I mean, they're in the AFC. Are they going to get past the Bills? I know, Maggie, you hope not.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. And then are they going to get past KC? No, I don't think so. And if Tua does come back and he's solid, you know what I mean, and he's got a brain like a woodpecker to where he doesn't have to worry about concussions or anything like that, no, they're not getting past him either. So, like, I'm really kind of tired of it. And I know, like, I can't get mad at Aaron Rodgers for shenanigans because I know it's not me he's messing with. It's you, the media, that he's messing with. But at the same time, it's still irritating. It's all outside. Last thing I want to get to, I had a very good night. Drove down to Birmingham, went and saw Auburn versus Iowa.
Nice.
Only message I would say to everybody, instead of sitting in your man cave, watching these games on TV, yelling at your TV, your wife looking at you like you're crazy, get up, go buy you a ticket and see a game. It kind of the telecast is cool, especially you guys who just talking about gymnasts. You have the great gymnasts making the game just mystifying for you and everything. But when you go see in person, it's just you're going to see a good game.
Yeah.
All that other stuff, all the other crap, none of that stuff matters. Like, you're there with good people. Everybody's in. I had people I didn't even know trying to buy me a drink. And I'm like, dude,
I got to save it up for St. Patrick's Day. Well, Jay, I think it's a good public service announcement about going to a game if you're in the area. And thank you for the call. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. But the thing is about watching the tournament at home is it's just so money that you can just flip channels and have constant games. It's like Red Zone for college basketball. Like, the tournament on the couch is one of the great traditions.
Yeah, it's amazing. Or actually, even better tradition is if you're lucky enough to have TVs at work, to be on the company dime and watching basketball, maybe on your laptop. I'm not saying you should do that.
They still have the boss button, I noticed, on NCAA.com.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, where you can watch, and then the boss button takes you like right to the New York Times homepage or some fake thing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm looking at different rankings of philosophers where Thomas Hobbes, and I see him as high as 5 and then as low as 17. I might do my own bracket of great philosophers. You know, Kant, Hume, Kierkegaard. Would you think this will get traction?
Sure. Is there a social media platform just for nerds? By the way,
it's called Twitter.
I looked actually to see what the boss button is this year for NCAA.com. So you go to NCAA.com, you can watch all the games live. They have a boss button. And it used to be the New York Times homepage back in the day.
I think it also used to be a fake spreadsheet at one point.
Okay, now guess what it is? It's Boss GPT. The chat bot GPT, the AI, artificial intelligence that's basically going to take all of our jobs at some point and, you know, everything. It's now a chat GPT. New York Times out.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I feel like people don't really go to work anymore, so there's really no need for this.
The boss button's really irrelevant.
There's certainly no one here.
No, it is a graveyard around here. But we've got each other, and we've got you, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We're also chatting with you, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We are streaming live on the free Odyssey app. We're also on SiriusXM channel 158.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're gonna match up Descartes versus Immanuel Kant, I think there's a bracket in the works, Maggie. I think I need to create a bracket here.
Can you get to 64 by the time? 64.
64.
You're gonna have philosophers like Tupac and Snoop. I mean, it's gonna, you know, which might be a high seed actually. Tupac.
He'd probably win.
Yeah.
I could get. I'm already at 17. I've already handwritten people I vaguely read in college.
Rousseau sounds right.
Should I just do Western? I mean, or do I count like Aristotle, go all the way back old school? He's like
I'm going to be honest.
Like the Kentucky of this bracket.
Yeah, when I say it's your world and we're all living in it, this is now your world and you're the only one living it.
Well, okay. I mean, fine. It is Friday. Don't people want to sit around and talk about the great philosophers and their contributions?
I'd rather rank the NFC quarterbacks, actually, if you don't mind. We rank the AFC. I mean, listen.
Some of these philosophers could probably start in the NFC.
Dig up the body of Aristotle and be starting for the Cardinals while Kyler Murray heals.
If I told you, I think I was right. David Hume, is he either a backup on the Lions or is he a great philosopher?
Maybe we play that game like we do quarterback audible or festival band.
Yeah, but it's going to be a lot of 18th century German names.
Well, I don't know. Is David Blau? Did he come up with
David Blau, Chris Streveler could go either way. Is it Chris Streveler? Yeah. He was the. By the way, did the Bucs sign a backup quarterback? They did, didn't they?
No, they have Baker.
No, I'm sorry, the Bills.
Oh, the Bills. Not yet.
They did not?
No.
My Eagles got Marcus Mariota, not a philosopher. It's interesting. I'm so fascinated with this back. Promise me we'll talk backup quarterbacks later today. Backup quarterbacks
playing
and
all
philosophy.
The hits today. Philosophers, backup quarterbacks.
Drop your bracket. It's time to get nerdy with Perloff.
Honestly, if someone's tuning into this for the first time and they're enjoying St. Patrick's Day, they're going to be like, what the heck did I just stumble upon? Oh, man. 855-212-4CBS. I thought Jay made a good point, though, about even if Rodgers is as motivated as can be, and even if he comes in and he's ticked off at Mark Murphy or the media or whoever he's got an axe to grind against, just because he's motivated like that doesn't mean there aren't 100 obstacles standing in the way. And by obstacles, I mean Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, if Lamar Jackson is still in the AFC. I mean, I could go on and on.
Yeah, but
I mean, who thinks the Pittsburgh Steelers are missing the playoffs 2 years in a row? Okay, I mean, at your own risk, because Pittsburgh always finds a way to win games, no matter who's at quarterback. So, to me,
I don't know. I mean, this
is not going to be such an easy slam dunk. The expectations are going to be high, but the execution on this is not going to be easy for them.
Well, there's a lot of unknown. We often overrate March signings.
I didn't mention Russell Wilson. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Last year we did the same thing. I know, and the NFC East just destroyed the entire AFC. I think it's not going to be as lopsided as you think it is, or we think it is. I just think some of these teams are not going to work out. I wouldn't be surprised if a team like the Chargers fell off. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns struggled. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens took a step back. I mean, none of these teams, first of all, the Chargers peak at 11 wins. They can't get passes. All these teams get hurt, Maggie. Yep. The Broncos had more injuries than any team in the league last year. Why is that going to change?
I don't know, but with Sean Payton now with Russell Wilson, do we think it's going to be the out-and-out disaster that it was last year? Absolutely not.
I like them, but I will bet you, as lopsided as it seems on the quarterback front, I'll bet you by the end of the season, the NFC is probably, you'll have a 500 record against the AFC. Because just like last year. Last year, for some reason, the NFC just kind of had a really good record against interconference against the AFC.
I get it, but if you just want to go by quarterbacks, which we know becomes the most important thing, then, or one of the most, then you can't look at the AFC and think, oh gosh, Rodgers is going to cakewalk here. And what's funny is we had our buddy Aaron Nagler on the show yesterday, who is the founder of Cheesehead TV, so to get the pulse of really what the Packer fans going through, and we asked what the expectation is for Jordan Love in year one. And he said playoffs. Playoffs is the expectation, whether winning the division, he didn't rule that out, or the wild card, however you get in, getting into the playoffs is the expectation. And when you think about the NFC and the path being much easier, I'm not saying there's no good teams in the NFC, but the path is definitely easier. Who actually has a better shot at making the playoffs next year? Because you could say it's the Packers just by virtue of playing in the NFC, whereas the Jets could have Rodgers and a great defense and all that, but you still have the who's who, creme de la creme quarterbacks in the league that you're going to have to face at some point.
All right, Trevor Lawrence 1-4 against the NFC last year.
Whatever, okay.
Yeah,
won a playoff game last year.
Yeah, against the Chargers.
Okay, but won a playoff game. You know, we talk about guys who, Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins and how many playoff games they win. Trevor Lawrence in year 2 won a playoff game.
Dak won a playoff game this year.
And that was his second of his whole career.
But that wasn't enough for everybody.
No, it wasn't, because they fell short against the 49ers.
Yeah, because he's a Cowboy, so he has to go all. Anyway, regardless of the point, I just don't think the AFC is so far above. You're right. These are an impressive list of quarterbacks. But how many of these situations are going to fall apart? They just are. I hate to say it.
Not
Rodgers
all of them, though.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, the NFC has some potentially really good teams. We could get into where the Packers fit in, but are the Packers are they the worst team in their division?
No.
Who's worse?
Got to see it from the Bears. Listen, the Bears are winning March right now, but as you always say, that means absolutely nothing.
Doesn't mean anything, but that's where we are, where you're right. The Jets are in a crowded field, but the Packers, we have no idea.
All right, we'll get more into the NFC side of this in just a moment. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're welcome to join along. Again, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We've got a lot more to do. Check on the NFC right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flag.
Oh, day 2 of the tournament off to a good start. Lots of close games and some close calls. We'll get to that in a minute, but the game is in action right now. Second half, St. Mary's with a slim 5-point lead over Virginia Commonwealth, 41-36. Marquette in front of Vermont by a score of 39-30 late first. And also Pittsburgh and Iowa State are underway. The game's in the books. Xavier pulled it out after a really close call, but the Musketeers going on a 14-0 run late in the second half to get past Kennesaw State, 72-67. Baylor also struggled with the UCSB before ultimately pulling away late in the second, 74-56. The Bears advance, and Michigan State a winner over USC today, 72-62, as the Spartans making their 25th consecutive tournament appearance. They were led by Joey Hauser's 17. Later, Kentucky takes on Providence after the Wildcats a 6th seed this time around after going down last year as a number 2 seed to St. Peter's. NBA, the Sixers go for their 7th straight tonight in Charlotte. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Ask the Pros, where you can ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply check out the link, cbssportsradio.com/askthepros, or tweet your question at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Trey McDonald in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can find the Weedos. What's on everyone's dinner menu tonight? I've got corned beef in the slow cooker, Irish soda bread in the oven, and a key lime pie to whip up. That sounds awesome.
Key lime pie because it's green?
Yeah. And that's a good way to end that meal.
Yeah.
A little sour, but, sweet and sour.
There's no
tart.
bad occasion for key lime pie, but it feels like a little stretch to get into your menu there. I like it.
Well, what would be a dessert?
Did he say soda bread?
Yeah, soda bread.
Yeah, I guess
But soda bread's not super sweet.
Yeah, it's highly caloric, as I recall. I don't know. Yeah,
we got into a soda bread kick during the pandemic, and I must have eaten my weight in soda bread.
Soda bread, it's too dangerous. Don't even get me started on things like
that.
The
whole thing is gone. Like you have 2 bites, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
That's how I got involved in the peanut butter challenge, because peanut butter was one of those things where I couldn't control how much I ate.
Yeah,
really good bread. It's very dangerous.
It's so good. That is dangerous. And the corned beef and cabbage.
I love corned beef and cabbage.
Awesome. Yeah.
By the way,
yellow mustard with it.
When is the corned beef and cabbage coming to the studio? I actually haven't seen it yet.
You think that there's corned beef and cabbage getting delivered today?
I assume.
What would give you that impression?
I don't know. Don't most workplaces deliver corned? Dude, You worked on this, right?
Yeah. There's like 6 people here today. I don't know. I don't think that's in the cards.
It's like a summer Friday around
here. I thought you had extra time because you obviously didn't work on preparing your bracket.
I did not, clearly.
You had hours to kill.
Yes.
Yeah, watching the Lakers.
5-11 on day one. That is that's epic, dude.
That's all time.
That's all time.
All time worst for me.
All right, we got to get over to the NFC because Perloff and I are, locked in a disagreement on how easy or hard it's going to be for Aaron Rodgers to navigate his way through the AFC, which, by the way, not done yet. Rudy's in the chat. He's like, I'm nervous that this is going to fall through.
Could be.
It's not going to fall through.
I mean, the AFC is basically 9 awesome quarterbacks anyway. I don't, honestly, even if you put a guy 5, I think Justin Herbert's amazing, and I didn't put him in my top 5 list, so it doesn't matter. You're right. The NFC is a stretch.
Okay, so our top 5 NFC quarterbacks.
You can go first.
This one you can go 5-1.
Yeah.
Let's count
why
backwards.
did you go first? Because I went first last time.
Okay. My top 5 NFC quarterbacks, and this is going into next year. Number 5, I had Jared Goff on the list, and I can't believe I have Jared Goff on the list.
He's 2 on some people's NFC lists.
Oh, on some people who might be in the studio?
No, not my list. I'm saying his numbers were outstanding last year. You're kind of taking into account the offense, indoors, everything.
I don't like the fact that Jamal Williams is gone, but we'll talk about the Lions.
He's got Jameson Williams coming back.
Yeah, that's true. Number 5 on my list is Jared Goff. Number 4 on my list of NFC quarterbacks, Justin Fields.
Yeah.
DJ Moore this year. I think you're going to see the progression of Justin Fields. Number 3 on the list, I got to give it to Kirk Cousins. I mean, he always comes through with the numbers. And high seed for the Minnesota Vikings last year, even if we all knew that was a little bit on shaky ground. Number 2 on my list of NFC quarterbacks is Dak Prescott. And number 1 is your boy Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Thank you, Stu.
Wow. The only thing I didn't put
Felt bad leaving Geno off on this list, by the way.
Yeah, I looked at Geno. My only difference is I had Goff 5. Then I put Stafford there. And the reason I think McVay came back, it has to be, he has to try here, right?
I bet Stafford plays 5 games this year.
Why, though? He's 35 years old.
He had a spine injury last year.
Peyton Manning won an MVP after a spine injury.
Yeah, but is he going to get infused neck surgery? And by the way, Peyton Manning wasn't the 4th neck procedure was the one that really put him out.
They still... They gutted their defense a little bit, but they still have a lot of weapons around there in L.A. And they got McVay. Don't you think just Sean McVay himself is worth 3 spots in this? Justin Fields, I love him as a runner, but he was not a sharp passer last year.
He had nobody.
Come on. He could have had a million guys. That offense was going nowhere next year. Do you think if he gets better receivers, all of a sudden he's going to throw 30 touchdowns?
I don't know if he's going to get to 30, but I bet he throws 25.
Okay. Yeah,
Keep going.
Honestly, I would put you put Fields over Jones, Daniel Jones?
I did, yep. Daniel Jones did not make my top 5. I'm sorry, but this is your list.
Okay, so I went Goff, Stafford, Cousins, Dak, Jalen. I'm surprised you had Dak number 2.
I did, because, I don't think that Dak is going to be, I have no idea, but the interceptions at the end of the season, he was clearly pressing, but like you said several times, those were not all his fault.
Oh, yeah.
And so, they rarely are for quarterbacks, but those were not all his fault, and I don't think you're going to see those types of that seems like the outlier. He's not a high interception guy.
Right. It was a bit of a mess with the receivers. They could use some continuity there because Dak went out with the hand injury early. I think they need a receiver, though. They need an Odell Beckham. They need somebody.
Do you see the latest on Odell Beckham where he wants to go, allegedly?
What the
New York Giants?
The Giants, right? But isn't there a rumor the Giants have no interest in that price tag?
I can't imagine they would.
Yeah, I think that seems like a long shot. The Jets, of course.
Going the move for Paris Campbell, and then Darren Waller. Obviously, they made the trade.
Then they re-signed Slayton as well.
And they re-signed Slayton.
So, yeah, they're going to a Daniel Jones run for his life season again. Yeah. Anyway, that's besides the point. I really think that Dak, he was just looking at CeeDee Lamb by the end of the season, and it caused a lot of problems against San Francisco. He just didn't trust his other wide receivers. I've become the show's Dak supporter.
Yeah, you have.
Give him some help, and I think they'll be okay. Mike McCarthy's a play caller. It does make me nervous, by the way. Is this a strength? Is this an
I think it's going to be better.
Cowboys?
I think it's going to be better.
Are you positive?
I'm not positive, but I think it's going to be better. As long as he's not lying about going to visit the guys at Pro Football Focus again.
And this is not 2008 where you're going to shock people with the West Coast offense, Maggie. I do not know what Mike McCarthy's offense is going to look like.
Trey, again in the chat, before talking about his corned beef and cabbage, asking now, why not Carr?
Carr, I looked at too.
Yep.
Jim,
Carr is a top 5, though.
He's indoors. He's probably going to put up some numbers. I don't love the coaching staff there.
But Carr has a good case. I like the Saints signing Jamal Williams because Carr had issues in the red zone last year, and now he just hand the ball off. Jamal Williams had 17 touchdowns last year.
There are very few running backs who move the needle, and I'm not sure I'm going to put Jamal Williams.
Well, I'm just saying you have now more red zone threats with Jamal Williams.
Okay. That's really going to move the needle for you?
It might help. His numbers could look,
No, Derek Carr should have good numbers. I mean... Yeah. Listen, Andy Dalton had the second best season of his life and went 8-9 last year because in New Orleans you can throw the ball easily. I just worry about Derek Carr that how he handles pressure. It feels like and Stu, you know this, you hit Derek Carr really hard early in the game, and you're not getting the A-list Derek Carr.
Yeah, he fades. He fades once he, sees the pressure, gets hit a few times, gets knocked around. Yeah, that's definitely an issue for him.
What about motivated Derek Carr season? We were talking about motivated chip on your shoulder Rodgers season. Do we get a motivated chip on your shoulder Derek Carr season? What does that look like?
That's fair. I think that's very fair. You could see a little something there. Yeah.
He was ticked off.
He had an all-star team on his team last year somehow through 24 touchdowns and 14 picks.
I know, because he wasn't a culture fit, quote unquote. According to Josh McDaniels.
Obviously, him and McDaniels were obviously not on the same page. McDaniels,
yeah, imagine how bad that must have been behind the scenes. I mean, kudos, it never really got out. Remember, Derek Carr was crying at the press conference because of what guys go through just to get to practice.
Little passive-aggressive, if you ask me.
Yeah. You don't think the Carr's a culture fit either. You're not a big Carr guy.
No, I actually think Carr's a really nice guy, but I do think he's a bit sensitive, and you cannot put a sensitive guy with Josh McDaniels because he's apparently as old school as they get. He's from the Parcells mold. And so, no, I didn't think that was a culture fit at all. Dennis Allen and Derek Carr does not thrill me either.
The future of the WBC, could it be in danger after the Edwin Diaz injury? We can talk to a Hall of Famer next. John Smoltz is going to join us. Talk a little baseball. Do that. We'll keep you updated on the tournament as well. John Smoltz, big Michigan State guy. The Spartans advance past USC. We got so much to do. Glad to have you on this Friday, St. Patrick's Day. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I'm not seeing an overwhelming desire for Perloff to show off the leggings.
That's weird. Is it some sort of technical difficulty?
We'll see if there's any kind of glitch. Someone said leggings should not be in a man's wardrobe.
Performance pants.
See, that doesn't sound right either. Performance pants.
Yeah, I don't know. By the way,
sound like
going down a road I do not want to go down to.
Yeah. Don't take Viagra, just performance
pants from Romans. No,
they're sent to you in a discreet package.
What kind of package?
Medium, small.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
What up, what up? Welcome to the show. Xavier survives today, but more importantly to our next guest, Michigan State advances past USC. And our next guest is the Hall of Famer, John Smoltz, who's participating in the Invited Celebrity Classic, April 21st through the 23rd at Las Colinas Country Club in Irving, Texas. Of course, we know John, a fantastic golfer, qualified and competed in the 2018 U.S. Senior Open. John, thanks so much for the time. It's Maggie and Perloff here in New York. Congrats to your Spartans today.
Yeah, that was a big win. Not going to lie. Last four first rounds have not gone well for Sparty, who's used to being in the tournament. So that was a big win, and Tom will have them ready in a day and a half here for whoever, Marquette or Vermont.
Do you fill out a bracket this year, John?
I did.
Do you have Michigan State winning it?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you kind of had to do that.
No. I mean, I want to be realistic. I know that's what I want, but they actually have them going. I think offhand, I think they meet up. If they were lucky enough to win the games that I had them winning, I think they meet up with Purdue, and I had Purdue beating them, and I had Purdue and Gonzaga in the finals.
John, I don't know, forgive me if this is an indelicate question or if you don't want to answer it, but how much have you ever wagered on Michigan State?
Any of my teams that I love and root for, that's the double whammy. There's no way. That's not a good policy because I would rather – I mean, I'm such a diehard that I would rather the team win than me win money.
I got it.
John, did you, we were talking about this before the show. Did you attend Michigan or come close to attending Michigan State before you went pro? How did that go down?
Yeah, so I was less than 24 hours from going to my first class. I had signed early on in the process, got drafted late, and I had my dorm, I had my classes, everything picked out. Sunday night at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, up against the deadline, I signed with the Tigers, so I just didn't show up to class or Michigan State, and I went and joined the Tigers big league club because I had waited so long, the rookie ball was over. It was one of the most unreal paths that you could take. And they'd just come off winning a World Series. So imagine this young kid following a team around for the last 35 games of the season. And I just was like this little lost puppy following the, bullpen catcher everywhere he went. I worked out with the club, and then I went in the stands when the game was on, and then I went in the dugout in the team bus. So, yeah, it was an unbelievable experience for me and really a life-changing moment. It was 24 hours, and everything changed.
That is wild. John Smoltz is joining us, the Hall of Famer, the Cy Young winner, the World Series champion, is going to be participating in the Invited Celebrity Classic, which is April 21st to the 23rd at Las Colinas Country Club in Irving, Texas. Lots of celebrities, lots of athletes, all for a really good cause, a charitable component to it as well. Lots and lots of fun. Okay, John, full disclosure here. I'm a Mets fan. So thanks for the nightmares all those years. But beyond that, obviously the Edwin Diaz injury in the World Baseball Classic has me feeling a certain type of way about that tournament now that my team is not going to have their closer for this season. Do I have a right to be, upset about this? And do you think it's going to change anything moving forward with participation in the WBC?
You have a right to be upset. You have a right to be down and out, because that's unfortunate. And it's just one of the worst blows. It wasn't something extravagant. It wasn't something crazy. It wasn't even in performing on the field. I just hate it. Spring training has a bunch of injuries every year, and it would be naive to think that this tournament wouldn't have some injuries, but nothing like that. Like that when you're celebrating one of the biggest victories, and it wasn't like some of these celebrations, which, by the way, I don't know how guys don't get more hurt in the celebrations that exist in baseball and a regular season, let alone, this tournament. So I hate it for baseball. I hate it for the Mets, one of the elite closers. And it's just I can't even describe every year. It seems like the Mets have something on the mound that just doesn't work injury-wise. It's amazing.
What do you think WBC? There's a big debate, especially here in New York, John, about WBC in general. I think it's a great opportunity for Major League Baseball to get excitement going in a time that would normally be spring training. And it seems like the players love it. Do you buy that argument, say that Mike Trout said the other day that this is a wonderful experience, and despite the injury risk, there's still a lot of value in it?
Well, I've been covering this now. It's my second or third one. I can't even remember. I did the one. It's my third one. So last year called, USA winning the World Baseball Classic. For the other countries, it's ginormous. It's a way to expand their federation, baseball federation. It's showcasing the greatness that we have in our sport already in baseball. For the U.S., it's a little more tricky. There's more restrictions. It's not like we're trying to promote. Baseball's always been in the U.S., So like Great Britain just got the greatest moment of their country. They qualified. They're going to expand their baseball program. For the superpowers is a lot of pressure for Dominican Republic, for Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Japan. I mean, they want to win it badly. I'm not saying the U.S. doesn't, but you have to buy in. If you're on the USA team, you cannot be conflicted. You cannot be like, all right, I'm going to do this, but it literally has to be a total commitment, and the ones that are here are totally committed. There are still a lot of restrictions put on them that nobody knows. They can say all they want about whoever manages this team. They don't have the luxury of doing whatever they want. I can promise you that. And so the U.S. has a lot of pride. They're defending champs, and I'm sure they're going to want to do whatever they can in this three-game set if they're fortunate enough to get to the finals to repeat.
John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer, is our guest. John, there was a video that was put out recently where it was 6 players from the Dominican Republic, and they were asked, what's more important? What would you rather have, World Baseball Classic, championship or World Series? And 5 out of the 6 said World Baseball Classic. Should Major League Baseball, is that a problem for Major League Baseball?
I just think they're being honest. You think about it. They're coming to our country, and they're having to learn the style over here, the language, and they're competing with their teams. But once every 3 years, or until the pandemic, they get an opportunity to return to their countrymen and play together. That is a huge deal. Listen, for whatever it's worth, I know it's not going to happen. I've been banging the drum for a World versus USA All-Star game. I think it's in the middle of the season would be phenomenal. You could actually play 2 games. You could showcase all the talent that baseball has worldwide, and tell me who wouldn't want to play in the middle of the season for that kind of scenario. And the reason I don't think it's going to happen is because of the WBC. But that's when you've got everybody ready. That's when you've got everybody primed, and it would be a phenomenal all-star game. But to your question, I mean, I understand their answer. And, if I were to say that on the air, I'd probably be looking for another job. But that's just the reality of them being honest. I don't see that as a point where there's something wrong with that. I just think they're being honest about their country and how this tournament before the season starts is very important to them.
We're talking to John Smoltz on behalf of the Invited Celebrity Classic, which we'll get to in 1 minute. John, the pitch clock is getting a lot of attention right now. Is the game going to be unrecognizable to the average fan, or will we get used to this pretty quickly once the season starts?
It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be so good that people won't even recognize down the road that there is a pitch clock. And that's the way the players will adapt to it. There'll be some shenanigans early. There'll be some hiccups early. Everyone will get over it. But this is going to speed the game up. This is going to create action. All the rules have been put in place to enhance the game and get more action. I cannot tell you how great this is going to be. The shift, banning the shift, this is going to be great for baseball. We've gotten to a point where I've never understood this. If I say that the games are 3 hours and 50 minutes, that doesn't mean I hate the game. It's just a data-driven, it's data. And if the games are taking too long and the fans are having a hard time hanging in there, they've made some rule changes to enhance that and create more action. There's nothing wrong with that. The players will be fine. It might affect and impact less than 2 or 3% of the players. And honestly, this pitch clock is more for the hitters than it is for the pitchers. The hitters are going to have the hardest time adjusting to it, more so than the pitchers. So I'm fired up about it this year. I think it's going to really reteach the players to play the game at a faster pace. They've learned to play it at a slower pace because of all the information. And, I just think the unintended consequences are going to be great. I've been saying it for years. And every sport's made changes. Every sport has made a defensive change, and no one blinks an eye at it. But when baseball started talking about it, people kind of lose their minds. And, again, it goes back to when there isn't that much action and you've got the data to back everything up, more strikeouts, more walks, and the game's taking longer, you won't be able to individually make a team change their philosophy. But if there's rule play changes, now they got to change their philosophy.
John, so as a pitcher, it wouldn't have changed the way you work, having that pressure on you?
Not at all. No, we all know. See, that's the thing, all right? It's hard to compare generations, right? And we pitched with a different reward system, and we pitched with a different philosophy. We pitched fast, and we pitched more to contact. And so, there was this idea that you pitch 8-9 innings, you conserve, and that's what we were trained to do. Now it's different. Train for max velocity, minimal effort, maximum velocity, but don't extend beyond, humanly what they're capable of doing. And so now you're going to see a combination of both. You're going to see guys having to train a little bit differently. 98 in the first inning might be 95 in the fifth inning with a pitch clock. Who knows? But I'm telling you, the game will move in a pattern that will be infectious to everybody.
There was a video that circulated in spring training when this started with the pitch clock where an entire half inning was played up against an inning in the playoffs in 2015 where the pitcher had not thrown a pitch and an entire half inning happened in the same amount of time. We're excited about that as baseball fans for sure. John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer, is participating in the Invited Celebrity Classic. I mean, John, you're a hell of a golfer. I mean, last year you came in 6th in this tournament, but be honest with us. Tony Romo, Marty Fish, Annika Sorenstam, Adam Thielen, Derek Lowe, they're all going down this year, right? The people who've finished above you.
Can I tell you I'm excited about? I got a new hip 5 weeks ago. So got a
new hip
replacement. Yeah, new hip. So I'm excited about playing a little bit, a lot pain-free. I have not had that luxury the last few years. So I'm getting used to my new hip. I'm swinging at it right now. Don't tell my doctor. I'm a little ahead of schedule.
Our secret.
But this is a great field. Those people you mentioned, especially Annika and Tony Romo, they are studs. And Marty Fish and Mark Mulder. So, yeah, I love whenever there's a tournament, I love the fact that if they're going to keep score and there's going to be a scoreboard, I want to be on it. And I didn't have much hope about 6 weeks ago when I thought about the process of playing after a new hip. But I'll tell you right now, I'm so excited that I'm looking forward to walking pain-free again and playing pain-free again.
Now, is beating Greg Maddux enough for you? Would that satisfy you if you didn't win?
No, I basically had to have surgery because Glavine almost beat me this January in a tournament, and I knew he was gunning for me. And I beat him by a point. I had to bogey the last hole to beat him by a point. So I said, that's it. I got to have surgery. If he's getting that close, I got to have surgery. But no, Greg's gone in the wrong direction, unfortunately. Glad's taken a ton of lessons. He just wants to beat me once. And I can't let that happen. I honestly cannot let that happen.
I love you guys are still so competitive as a former teammates with the Braves in the 90s. Okay, so, John, I've got to call out my co-host here. Last year at the Masters, when Tiger Woods returned, barely 10 months after being in the car accident, he returns to the Masters. John, I had, tears in my eyes. You know, we're watching him hobble on the course. I had tears in my eyes. My co-host is like, come on, it's just golf.
Wait, John, that's exactly what I said. But
it's pretty close. You were like, come on, it's golf. It's what people do when they retire.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I probably had that thought 25 years ago. I didn't understand the complexity of walking a golf course and playing. I didn't think that was an athletic feat, to be honest. I didn't appreciate golf in that way. And all I can tell you, just what my little broken down body went through the last 3 years, it's not a joke what he did. It's impossible to think about what he went through and how he's doing it on a course that is not easy to walk. You are on your feet for 5.5 hours. And that is what did me in, just from the hip standpoint. I got one done. I got to do one more. And to do what he did, the perspective is off the charts. And I'm telling you right now, I think he captured the entire country in the fact that this guy knows how to play that golf course, and on his body was able to almost pull it off.
John, you played with Tiger at Augusta, didn't you?
I did.
How'd you do?
So the 30-second story is I hit it down the middle of number one. He hit it in the bunker, and we were walking down the fairway, and he said, this might be your day. I said, you're darn right, it's going to be my day. And I made 6, he made 4. He shot 66, I shot 76. And it was the biggest joke I've ever seen of a guy carving up a golf course as if it was his own. Every pin was Sunday's pin. So this was like 3 weeks before the Masters. The course was prime and ready, and he just strolled around like it was nothing.
Amazing. Wow. John, thanks so much. Can't wait to watch on Golf Channel the Invited Celebrity Classic. Go to invitedcelebrityclassic.com. Proceeds benefit the Momentous Institute, which is an important North Texas nonprofit dedicated to helping children in need. Also, First Tee Dallas and First Tee Fort Worth. We'll be watching on Golf Channel. So, make us proud out there.
I will be grinding, and I will do that.
Well, happy to hear you're pain-free, too, with the new hip. Thanks so much, and hopefully we'll catch up with you during the baseball season. Very cool.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer.
Thanks, John. That's awesome. Just the way he described Tiger carving up Augusta,
Well, so it's like we're watching the NCAA tournament, and having John Smoltz hit in the fairway on one and Tiger hit in the bunker is kind of like when the 16 seed gets off to a really good start
Northern
against
Kentucky,
the one.
Yeah.
And then you know the tide's going to turn. You're just not exactly sure when.
I wanted to ask him about this question, but I knew his answer. Would you rather compete at Augusta on the golf course or have that kitchen make you your meal of choice?
The Champions Dinner?
The Champions Dinner menu? I don't think he would have agreed with me. First of all, you embarrassed me with the Tiger take, which is fair. And I think he did say as a young man he might have thought that way as well.
Yeah, he said 25 years ago he did think that way.
I think he's getting hip replacement because he played so much golf, not because of pitching.
No. I don't think the pitching had anything to do with it.
Because famously, John Smoltz, Maddox, and Glavine would go on their off days.
Yep.
I think I read a story that they played 5 times a week during the season.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball's another sport, which sometimes I wonder about the athleticism involved.
Don't say that to John Smoltz. But the thing is like, for the hitters, I can see where it might mess with your swing. For the pitchers, it's not going to. But, like, famously, and you guys know Mets fans, Yoenis Cespedes used to golf all the time.
Yeah.
And I always wondered, like, doesn't that mess with your swing?
Well, I think the fitness level needed for baseball might be if you could golf 5 times a week in season. Can you imagine an NBA teams nowadays can do it, but back in the day, you would think you wouldn't have the energy, but because baseball is not the fastest sport.
I think you also underestimate how good a shape these guys are in.
Oh, yeah. John Kruk was just so an Adonis. Yeah. I mean, I could go down the list. I mean, come on. Yeah, the home run hitters are in good shape, and we know you do not have to be in good physical fitness. You're just playing baseball.
855, I'm not touching that. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Our big thanks to John Smoltz. It's always fun to talk to. Coming up, the one thing we thought would never happen in professional sports looks like it's actually happening. Wild. Just wild. Also, St. Mary's gets past VCU. VCU had one of their best players go down with an injury. So that happens. The 5 seed moves on. No upsets there. We've got more for you on the Maggie and Perloff Show. You're listening to us on CBS Sports Radio on the Sirius XM Channel 158 channel on the free Odyssey app. And we are streaming live youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back on Maggie and Perloff. It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There goes our basketball.
Oh, no, we lost our signed basketball.
Sorry, Scott Drew and Bob Huggins, who signed our basketball. Just fell on the ground.
Today's question came from Ken in Potomac. Do you think that Washington Commanders will finally be sold? Don't forget. Am I doing part one or part two here?
Do both.
Okay.
No. You're right. Do part two and then the next page.
Yeah. Don't forget you can submit a question by going to cbssportsradio.com/askthepros or tweeting it at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. All right, so the news is out that the Snyders, Daniel and Tanya, cleared their offices out at the Washington Commanders headquarters. Is the Washington football nightmare finally over, Maggie?
It looks like it. I just got such a kick out of, they cleared out their offices. I was expecting a Watergate style thing. They go in the middle of the night with just flashlights. Were they carrying plants and stuff out of the building? How did this go down? But anyway, their offices
I think it's a fresh direct bag, and you just put your things in there.
Just gather up all your crap.
Have you ever cleared out an office? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. It's a nightmare to clear out your office. I worked at SI for 8 years. I had so much stuff in there.
I worked at SI for 10 years, and I had to clear out an office. It was a disaster. This Carson Wentz poster behind me was stuck in my office, and now it's here, and it's everyone's problem. So
yeah, thank you. Everyone hates it, by the way.
So in my mind, I'll tell you my reaction to this Snyder's clearing their office story. It's much like Jimmy G and the 49ers. Until he's actually gone.
Until he actually signs with the Raiders.
I don't want to hear clearing their office. I don't want to hear Roger Goodell saying we're selling the team. It is March 17th, 2023. I am not going to take this seriously until there is a new owner of this football team, Maggie.
Okay, well, I'm hoping that they push this sale through, much like the NBA did with the Phoenix Suns. Let's just get these people out of here. These clowns, get them out. Get a new owner in who, listen, none of these owners are amazing. But get a new owner in. Anyone's going to be better than Snyder. And then let's get Washington in the mix for Lamar Jackson, because the next owner is going to have to, potentially they'd have to sign off on a contract that big with that much guaranteed money if we think he's getting $230 or whatever. So let's get them out and get somebody else in there who's going to sign him. It's a good team. Lamar Jackson on Washington. I know you're an Eagles fan. You don't want to see it, but that's fun for the rest of us.
Absolutely. It's a great plan. There's an alternative plan that I think you'll like as well.
What's that?
Why not get the new owner in a little later, stay with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett, find a way to sneakily lose a few games, get Maryland native Caleb Williams in the house next year. The owner's first year, he has the number 1 overall pick, probably the prize quarterback in the last 5 years in the building, and then that is a way to own a team, Maggie.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good. I know the NFC East is playing the AFC East this year, but I don't even think that Washington, they're not going to be able to lose enough games. They have
a brutal schedule.
It's a bad schedule, I know.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. But at the same time, they're not bad enough.
Well, yes, but if you could tweak a couple things here and there. I mean, Ron Rivera has been on the hot seat for a little while. Remember Frank Reich in Indianapolis? If things start to go bad and there's a coach on the hot seat,
bring in Jeff Saturday.
You bring in Jeff Saturday. You could lose. Bring in a former Washington player. Bring in Mark Schlereth.
He would resent that, by the way.
Why? He was a former Washington player.
No, I know, but the fact that the insinuation is he'd come in and lose every game like Jeff Saturday did, except for against Stu's Raiders.
Jeff Saturday at least won his first game. I didn't think that Jeff Saturday
beat the Raiders.
I thought the Jeff Saturday thing could have actually gone worse. I thought
worse. What is it? 1-5?
Yeah. So what? The team was terrible. They were terrible. Why do you think he was there? He wasn't there because they were a juggernaut.
Honestly, they didn't finish the job though. If they had just, well, I think the Colts should actually tank this year, but that's another.
Well, anyway, Washington has a couple. It's going to be hard to get an owner in time.
Sorry,
due to this.
Jeff Saturday was 1-7. Sorry.
Yeah,
but I shortchanged him a couple losses.
I don't think, but nobody expected him to win any football games. The dude was on ESPN the Monday before he took over. Anyway, the Washington team. It's going to be hard to get an owner in there and do this contract with Lamar. That's impossible.
No,
right?
but I'm saying,
realistically,
listen, nobody thought a new owner could come into Phoenix Suns and then pull off a blockbuster trade for Kevin Durant, but it happened.
But that's the NBA. It's not as serious a league. This is football. There's a lot of moving parts. And also, that was a direct trade. You know what? Actually, you could trade for Lamar later on. But to do this contract thing, I think you have to get moving. I mean, we're talking about Jeff Bezos is in the mix for you got to do one thing at a time here. I don't think they're getting Lamar Jackson, but I like this geographic. They took another Maryland quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, did not work out.
Yep.
Tragic ending there, but Caleb Williams, you love this tank for next year. It's going to be great.
I know. I'm just seeing who's really going to emerge, who really wants it.
You don't think Sam Howell at QB is a potential tank? Come on.
It could be. Jacoby Brissett might win you a couple games, though.
Not a lot of games.
No, but he might not lose you enough. That's not the only owner-related news. And we don't even really think about this guy, but as in terms of owner of a team. But it looks like Michael Jordan is looking to cash out as well. He reportedly is going to sell his majority stake in the Charlotte Hornets. And I had to go back and look because I just wanted to make sure this was true. Since he became the majority owner in 2010, 0 playoff series wins for him.
If you had asked me when he took over the Hornets, I would have had no idea.
They were the Bobcats. That's how long ago.
I don't even know what franchise it was. They're, first of all, the most confusing franchise in the history of the world. They are as low profile. Michael Jordan's probably, I'd say, the highest profile athlete in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
He is probably the 8th highest profile owner somehow. I see Mark Cuban all over the place. I see Steve Ballmer. I see Steve Ballmer every three minutes on my TV.
The Warriors people are quoted in the New York Times every week.
The guy for the Jazz was basically hosting the All-Star game. I see these shadowy pictures of Michael Jordan smoking a cigar in an owner's box. It looks like something out of the movie The Natural. And once every 2 months, you'll get this really soft interview with the pregame show. The dude doesn't do any press. We don't really know what his role on the team is.
No, but he's involved. It's not like...
Do you know, though?
Well,
how would you know?
Because I went back and read the Wright Thompson, who's an excellent sports writer. He wrote a piece right when Jordan was turning 50. And so it was a couple years ago, and he's profiling Jordan in his office, taking calls about trades and players. Like he's in. He's not a hands-off owner. He's
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I hear you. No,
Wright Thompson is like one of the great sports writers of this generation. I don't think he would be making it up.
So he was in his office with Michael Jordan.
Yes.
And Michael Jordan
That's the opening scene. Is Jordan's getting calls and text messages and people wanting to make trades? Like he's in on this. You said he's in there watching from a suite. It's not like he's on his yacht and not attending any of the games.
I think Jordan set up right there a little bit. I'm sure I'll bet you half those calls there was no one on the other line. I think he's like,
come on. The phone's not plugged in?
I went back and looked at the Hornets draft picks.
Yeah.
They're not that bad draft. I actually got in a little bit of an argument with Rich Ackerman here about that. They've actually done a decent job drafting. I'm not quite sure why they're so bad.
When you draft Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, don't trade him away.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, I think LaMelo Ball was a great pick, and I think he's a great player. I think that was the right pick.
Frank Kaminsky at 9?
That one was bad. But Malik Monk was a really good player. They just didn't know how to use him.
For Sacramento, he's been great.
Yeah, P.J. Washington's pretty good. They haven't really screwed up a ton of picks. They haven't made these terrible, terrible mistakes in the top 5. Kaminsky was a bad pick, but that was a weak draft.
Listen, I mean, you signed Gordon Hayward to a bunch of money.
Yeah.
You got hurt.
Gordon Hayward's a great player. That's not totally... I don't blame Jordan for that.
Well, I think what's crazy about it is just like the skill of the player. And I know this happens sometimes with coaching, but from the general manager point of view, like the skill of the player, and Jordan is arguably the greatest ever, and could not field a successful team. And you know that it's got to eat him up inside because he's one of the most competitive people on the face of the earth. And this has just got to be gut-wrenching, yet it never changed. You would think, like, year after year, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. And, like, they just couldn't get out of their own way. And his celebrity can't even sell tickets. They're barely in the top 20 of attendance since he took over.
I don't remember one quote from 2010. I don't remember one thing he said. I don't know. I have no idea. I guess I'll read this Wright Thompson piece because I'm telling you, he's a shadowy figure.
Yeah.
In my mind. I mean, honestly, like, he won't do national interviews. He won't talk to people.
No, but he's definitely involved in the team.
I know. I believe you. I was kind of kidding there. I don't know what it means for him to leave this team. I'm not sure. It probably is gut-wrenching, but is he all in? Now, why would he sell the team if he was all in? Just because he's been losing?
He put in the majority money. It was like $275 million or something, and he's probably going to get whatever.
But why?
The valuation of these teams are massive.
Why? He's got unlimited money with Nike.
Yeah, I don't think the money's it. I don't know what he's going to put what do you put your energy into if not this? Like, he already golfs and probably plays a lot of blackjack, but, like, you need to have, if you're a Michael Jordan, don't you feel like you need a purpose in your life that's not just taking Ahmad Rashad's money on the golf course every day?
I have no idea. I don't know what that dude's up to. No idea. I don't know why he would sell if that is his thing.
I think it's because I think he's failed. I think this is like an admission that you're bad at this.
You sure, though? There's not something else going on?
No, I have no idea. That's just my interpretation of it.
Yeah, I would say that maybe that seems unrealistic that he would give up. Because why would he do that? I mean, just keep going. Keep trying.
Cut your losses. I mean, you're seeing the Phoenix Suns being sold for, maybe it's just time to cash out. Again, I know he doesn't need the money. He'll never need the money, but...
Yeah, because he's got Air Jordan, which is crazy. It's funny. There's that movie coming out. I think we're going to see it next week.
Yeah, Monday.
It's. I love this idea of Michael Jordan sort of manipulating everybody to make sure there's a positive Michael Jordan thing out there. So the movie comes out.
The Last Dance first.
The Last Dance, because LeBron won the title in Cleveland. So he had to put out The Last Dance.
They fast-tracked it during the pandemic.
Yeah, he's trying to sell the team, so he's got to make sure he does it right when Air is out, which is going to make him look incredible. But I don't know if that's all true. That
it's going to make him look like the business genius. We got the basketball genius with the documentary, air quotes, and now we're going to get the movie about his business acumen, right?
Yeah. Also, too, the trailers are like, this isn't just any normal basketball player. This is the superhuman Michael Jordan, which was true, by the way. Yeah, you're too young. You don't remember when he came in the league even before the championships?
Yeah.
It was like nothing anyone had ever seen. Nothing. I know we could get a LeBron Jordan, but Jordan coming into the game was much more unusual.
Well, he was coming off of the championship at North Carolina, but then broke his leg, right?
Right. Well, he was just such a freak because he played so high.
Yeah.
Like he would just take a normal jump shot that was he was 6 feet off the ground.
So according to this Wright Thompson piece, which I went back and read today, the first thing that Michael Jordan does upon meeting you, look at your shoes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this movie.
He's got like his personal guy, George, the limo driver who initially drove him when he showed up in Chicago, and nobody from the Bulls sent a car for him. And this guy, George, was a limo driver who just happened to be at the airport, gave him a ride, and now has been his best friend, basically his body man ever since. And George, this guy, once bought a pair of New Balances, apparently Jordan threw them out. Guy's like... It's like 55 years old. He was wanting a pair of sneakers, and Jordan threw them in the garbage.
Very comfortable sneaker. Yeah, I guess it didn't work for Jordan.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, the third region of the Maggie and Perloff worst bracket ever. The bracket of stuff that's just the worst. We'll reveal that after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
All right, second day of the tournament, and right now a good one in the 6-11 matchup where Creighton leads North Carolina State 28-24. Ryan Kalkbrenner with 11 points and 6 rebounds so far for the Blue Jays. Pittsburgh came out red hot. Iowa State has come back, but it's still a 7-point difference with the Panthers in front, 30-23, late first half, and the Cyclones with 3 players in foul trouble already. Marquette having no problems against Vermont, leading 72-50 in the second half. Cam Jones has 19 for the Golden Eagles. Earlier today, Xavier survived a close call from Kennesaw State, 72-67. Baylor pulled away late from the UC Santa Barbara to advance 74-56. St. Mary's knocks off VCU 63-51, and Michigan State started the day with a 72-62 win over USC, led by 17 points and 8 rebounds from Joey Hauser. I'm Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports is everywhere, at home, in your car, and of course on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I'm Maggie Gray. That's Andrew Perloff. This is Maggie and Perloff. We're on CBS Sports Radio. We're streaming on the Odyssey app, which is free. We are on Sirius XM channel 158, and if you want to follow along with the show in video form, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Hope that you're enjoying day 2 of the NCAA Tournament on the men's side. No, the women also tipped off today. All right, let's get to our pal, Nick in Texas, who is the founder and proprietor of the Pearl Jam Season 2. That's the Maggie and Perloff official NCAA Tournament bracket. Nick, how you doing, bud?
Hey, how's it going? I heard you say something about brackets, so yes. I just wanted to give everybody a little update of where I am in Pearl Jam Season 2.
Love it. All right, what do you got? Give us the roll call.
Well, compared to last year, you started off with a bang, ended up in last place, I think, most of these seasons. This year, you and Perloff are tied currently out of 60 brackets for 13th place.
Yes.
With a fellow colleague, Zach Gelb, who's also in 13th place.
There you go. All the cool people are hanging out in 13th place.
Well,
that's the highly trained professionals we are.
Do Maggie and I have similar brackets? We must. I've been hurt by Arizona, Virginia, but we still have our Final Fours alive.
We think so.
You don't have to go through this.
Yeah, that's okay.
How's your bracket? Sorry, Nick. Did you say how's your bracket doing?
Oh, no. I don't want to talk about my bracket. Because,
oh, no.
No. If we want to talk about my other bracket, yeah, I'm in first place.
Oh.
But in this bracket, I'm in 46th place.
Oh, no. Yeah, by the way, everybody's...
Still early.
Everybody's got their other bracket. That's like my fake girlfriend in high school, the other bracket.
This is the only bracket that matters.
Well, the South really beat me up. That's where all my losses were. I was just trying to be risky and take all these kind of, who might pull up an upset and all that. But the South really beat me up, and that's where I really messed up my bracket. But you're right. It's still early. And my who I chose was Purdue, so they're still alive.
There you go. All right, so Purdue got a big showdown with Fairleigh Dickinson University later on. Who's Craig Robertson? Do you know who this is? Who's in first place?
I do not.
Okay.
No, I do not.
Well, shout out to Craig Robertson, who's leading everybody with Adrian Ellis in second place.
Right.
So
how could Stuart Kovacs only get 5 games right on day one and not be in last place?
I was looking at that. Yeah, Skip, Stu, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Kovacs. He's in 42nd place, so he's not too far behind me.
How about our buddy Eric Stengel, the former showrunner for David Letterman, 51st place, holding it down. So this is it's a star-studded affair. Nick, you're doing a great job recruiting for Pearl Jam Season 2.
Wait, by the way, I heard we could talk about it, but I know she's not listening. Did you say my wife is in last place, Maggie?
I heard that in the chat.
Okay.
I can't confirm.
I was reporting that, and I hate to kind of put that out there, but Sarah is in the very last place.
Okay, can we not bring that up?
Well, you said she's not listening.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's still early for Sarah. She picked Gonzaga to win it all, so she's still alive.
Because I came home last night and she was in a bad mood because of her bracket, which is amazing.
That's so funny.
She knew nothing about these teams, but she's like, man, I can't believe. I mean, Furman, who would have seen that coming? I'm like, do you even know where Furman is?
Even the diehard college basketball fans don't know where Furman is.
Yeah.
Well, I will give you guys a call next Friday, give everybody an update, and let everybody know how the brackets are going.
Love it, Nick. Thank you so much. Hi to the family for us. Excellent job as the steward of the Maggie, the Pearl Jam Season 2.
Wow, a lot of my friends came in here, and I didn't even realize it. They were in we got Matt Mosley, the Cowboys writers, in here.
Nice.
Nate Lundy from the Denver market. Well, this is awesome. I'm kind of I'm getting into it. I'm going to be disappointed if I don't do well, and that's a bad feeling, Maggie.
All right,
that's when you get your heart broken.
I know that you can't get deeply invested. It's all for fun. We still have time. Let's do it. Well, Iona and UConn have just tipped off. We're going to get to and reveal the third region of Maggie and Perloff's bracket of stuff that is just the worst. So we've already revealed the East and the South region. Stu, let's go top left today. Midwest bracket, if you will. And here are our third region of things that are just the worst.
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Number 1 seed in this Midwest region, flight cancellations, going up against 16-seeded Pimples. It's a tough 16 seed.
If you're 14, you're clearly voting Pimples, but if you're older, yeah.
The 8-9 matchup, 8th-seeded Political Ad Season.
The worst.
Against 9th-seeded Soggy French Fries. The 5-12 matchup here is 5th-seeded Forgetting to Charge Your Phone, going up against 12th-seeded Wet Shoes and Socks.
That's the worst idea I've ever heard in my lifetime.
I think this is an upset right here, because now you can charge your phone basically anywhere. Wet Shoes and Socks stinks. 4th seed in this bracket could go all the way to the Final Four. It's quarterback injuries. Just the worst.
The worst.
It's the worst when a quarterback gets injured.
It's like Monday night. You had the longest Monday. You just want to come home and watch some football, and you got David Blau going up against Joe Blow.
Yeah.
The worst.
And, you can't even tell, did your team have some good wins? Yeah, but they were playing against Gardner Minshew, and, it's like, that's just not, you don't know. You don't know anything. Okay. The 4th-seeded quarterback injuries going up against 13th-seeded, watching your team get blown out in any sport just stinks. The 6-11 matchup is when you get the wrong order from the delivery person going up against 11-seeded timeouts at the end of a game, specifically a basketball game, specifically an NBA game.
Oh, man, the worst.
Really the worst.
The worst. Third-seeded cold coffee, not iced coffee, coffee that's supposed to be hot but has gotten cold, going up against 14-seeded daylight savings time, which hopefully is going to just go away forever.
I don't think it is. We actually like daylight saving time. It's when they convert to the old way that's terrible.
Yeah, just to fall back.
Just keep one way, okay?
Yeah, just end it. We can't do it anymore. 7-seeded losing your earbuds goes up against 10-seeded potholes. We have 2nd-seeded getting hacked. Oh,
the worst.
Against 15-seeded splinters.
By the way, I almost destroyed the 2017 Honda Accord on a pothole the other day. So that is the worst.
It is pothole season in the Northeast. If you live, I don't know about, I can't speak for any other part of the country, but if you live in the Northeast, March is pothole season. All of a sudden, there was no snow this year, but usually when the snow melts and just the remnants of what remains from terrible roads.
I came down a hill and basically drove straight into the Grand Canyon potholes at 40 miles an hour. And I'm sure that there's going to be a trip to the mechanic soon because something had to be ruined.
They are just, there was an alert today on the highway I drive to get to work that it's going to be statewide fixing potholes. Right. And I'm like, so now you're going to fix the potholes, which means traffic's going to be backed up forever. Like,
there's a lot of bad things in this bracket.
Terrible. And potholes, that's a 10th seed.
Who is it going against again?
Getting hacked.
Ooh, that's not.
No, I'm sorry. No. Potholes, I'm sorry, goes up against losing your earbuds. Getting hacked going up against splinters.
Losing your earbuds that are $160 and they don't give you replacements.
Yeah, you just feel like such a loser. Anyway, coming up, the Cowboys made a move. We'll tell you what they did and why it matters. We'll do that next. And all the latest from the NCAA Tournament. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
If you go into a normal porta potty, you have about a 1 in 3 chance of it getting turned over and ending up on Instagram.
Everyone's never said that.
That's my nightmare.
All of a sudden, it's like, how did Samter get the bubonic plague? Like, I don't know. It hasn't been around since the Middle Ages.
We could have a debate about what's worse, but there's nothing worse. The thought of being in a porta potty that turns over.
No, my worst fear is dropping the phone. Just
that's gone.
Sacrifice it. Let it go. It's gone.
No, that is long gone.
And I have the kind of thing where I have my credit cards and stuff like on the back of the phone, and my whole life would be gone. I'm not going in.
What if it was a wedding ring?
Ugh. No, you got to go in for the ring.
No.
I have to.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
So far, we have not had an upset in the NCAA tournament today. Xavier came close. They held off Kennesaw State, but they came close. But Perloff, it's been very, very chalk, and you know what that means.
Something good is coming?
Something's brewing. Something is brewing. We got Pitt and Iowa State. Might be our closest, so we'll keep an eye on that. Pitt played in the first 4 as an 11 seed, playing against Iowa State, the 6th seed.
This UConn-Iona game is close. It's early, but a lot of experts have UConn going far because that bracket's a little weak. So that'd knock out a lot of people. There's a lot of UConn in the Final Four.
So we'll keep you updated on all of the latest going on with the NCAA tournament. But let's get to our Cowboys Quickie. Cowboys have made a move. They have signed backup Cooper Rush to a new deal. That's your Cowboy Quickie. I mean, dude won games for him last year when Dak Prescott was hurt.
You know,
he deserves a Cowboy Quickie.
Experience with the coaching. I know Kellen Moore's gone, but experience with the team means so much. That guy's. Remember, Cooper Rush came out in week 2, and he knew Noah Brown's game because they'd been playing as backups together forever and had this great chemistry where Dak would throw it 2 feet behind Noah Brown because he didn't know where he was going to go. I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's a solid move for them. I mean, can't anticipate that Dak Prescott's going to get hurt again in the opening game, but Cooper Rush kept the season afloat. There was a little bit of talk about a quarterback competition, which Jerry Jones fanned the flames on himself, but obviously that was just silly. But Cooper Rush comes back to the Cowboys, and Perloff and I were talking about our, top 3 non-quarterback, you want to say? Or, under the radar free NFL free agency moves that we liked. We both came up with a couple each. And because we just did the Cowboys Quickie, I'm going to start it, and I'm going to start with a move the Cowboys made. I thought an under-the-radar, good free agent move was franchising Tony Pollard. I don't know if that necessarily counts as a free agent move, but bringing back your own guy in Pollard, and I don't know if they're going to get a deal done or what's going to happen, but Pollard's coming off of a broken leg, but he's massive to what they're doing. So keeping Pollard, to me, deserves, a pat on the back by me to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but have you noticed the running back market is so bad right now? You can get any veteran running back you want for any price. So why are you paying that money for a guy coming off a broken leg when you could have gotten, for example, the former Eagle Miles Sanders just went out there for basically nothing. The Eagles signed Rashad Penny. So I'm just a little bit nervous as Dak Prescott fan number one that Pollard won't be ready. That's my only concern here.
Well, but even if he's not ready, he's not going to miss the season.
No.
So, recovering from a broken leg to me always seems like it happens a lot faster than, let's say, ACL.
Isn't that funny? Tendons are so much harder. Yeah. The broken leg actually makes you feel good, which is weird. Okay. I will go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we going to alternate?
Sure.
I'm going to go, of course, I have Eagles on the mind.
Yeah.
Former defensive tackle for the Eagles, Javon Hargrave, signs a monster deal with the San Francisco 49ers. 4 years, $84 million. So Hargrave had 11 sacks last year from defensive tackle, which is
That's
insane.
impressive.
That is Aaron Donald territory. If you look at the 49ers defensive front, I don't know that you need a quarterback, Maggie. I don't even know if you need an offense. I just think that you put these guys out there and they're going to destroy people. So you'd think, you double team Nick Bosa every time out there. Now you can't because you have Eric Armstead to deal with. You have Hargrave to deal with. You have Kinlaw to deal with. This is a ridiculously scary defensive line. It's odd how they're building this team because first of all, I don't know where they got the cap space to do this, but they are building everything but the quarterback.
It is a great move. It was a rich contract, though. A defensive tackle to give him $40 million guaranteed. I mean, that's a lot, and especially considering the injury history.
He's 30, by the way.
In San Francisco, a couple guys are going to go down. It just feels like that's a snake-bitten franchise in that way. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. It's like an iron sharpens iron. Like a good unit just got even better.
Yeah, and it's almost weird because if I was looking at that, everyone says, they got to focus on quarterback, and they did sign Sam Darnold, which I can't help but laugh a little bit. But watching me, we all know what's going to happen here. We know this movie. We know he's going to be good with Kyle Shanahan out of nowhere. We know he's going to play 6 games.
We know he's going to see the field. That's what I was going to say.
I think he's probably going to be good. I mean, listen, Brock Purdy just balled out, Maggie. He was Mr. Irrelevant, so Sam Darnold has a shot.
Another under-the-radar move, non-quarterback move that I love from free agency. Perloff, this is from your Philadelphia Eagles. I like the re-signing of Jason Kelce.
Yes.
It's 1 year, it's $14 million, but I think we don't underestimate. We know how important the center position is. They have not outlawed the tush-push yet. We know that the quarterback sneak is massive for the Eagles. It was one of the secrets to their not-so-secret weapons that they had. And I think that Kelce is a huge part of this. And I thought maybe he was retiring. If they had won the Super Bowl, if you had won the Super Bowl, Perloff, I bet he would have retired. Yeah. But now he comes back for the 1 year and the $14 million. And I mean, Jalen Hurts has got to be through the moon.
We're talking about the difference between a potential mini rebuild and expecting to be back in the Super Bowl. I don't think it's Kelce alone that makes that move, but
Bradbury too.
Bradbury, probably Slay, Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
So there was a lot. They're
keeping the band together.
They're keeping the band together, which is the smart move because you have Jalen Hurts sort of in his prime. We'll see what the money is for that. He's definitely in his prime. The question is, he's still cheap. So this is just such a sigh of relief because not only is he a good player and all that center stuff, I mean, obviously he's the leader of this team.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Okay, I'm going to also go offensive line for my next under-the-radar move. How about Denver signing Mike McGlinchey to shore up that offensive line and make it more of a run-oriented offensive line? Ben Powers also left guard. I love this. I love this so much because anything to help Russell Wilson, the entire building has to shift their focus. They got Sean Payton in there, who always had amazing offensive lines in New Orleans. Anything you can do to support Wilson and make last season forgettable is a great move, and I like spending money right in this spot.
Yeah, it's smart. I mean, you've already made the investment into Russ.
So much money.
You got to double down here. What I think is also interesting is, they're going to run the ball a ton. Letting Russ cook, it turns out I don't think anyone wanted him to cook. I don't think that Pete Carroll clearly didn't want him to cook, and I don't think that Sean Payton wants him to cook. I think they want to be a sound, running, rushing attack. Because don't forget, they also signed a tight end who's a blocking tight end.
Well, the better the run is, the easier it'll be for Russ to do play action. You do not want to be in pass-only situations with him. This is awesome. You got one more?
I do, and you're not going to like this, but I like it. Jamal Williams signing with the New Orleans Saints. Listen, maybe I'm blind. I thought Williams, he was excellent last year in Detroit. And to be fair, everyone on the Detroit offense was excellent last year. That offense was just really, really good. But a Jamal Williams paired with Derek Carr, again, give Carr all the weapons that he wants. You've got the deep threat with Olave. See what you get left from Kamara. You got Michael Thomas now in a very incentive-laden contract. They made sure to put that out there to the media. Incentive-laden to get him back on the field, and hopefully he'll stay there. And now you have Jamal Williams as your, puncher at the goal line. Guy had 17 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, I like Taysom Hill in that role, too. I know you're going to go Jamal. Of course, I like Taysom. I love anything
Taysom.
Odd and weird. And so, this is really interesting. And by the way, they got back Jameis for no money as a backup.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that's...
Jameis did not have a market.
But running backs, again, I just don't understand this running back. How many running backs are out there? So many out there, and they're so cheap. Do they really?
Jamal Williams got nothing. He got barely. The contract was not big at all, and he's only 28. It's not like he's 31.
Well, it's kind of on the older side for a running back.
A little older side, but not old. Still in your prime, not past.
27 seems to be the line. Ray Rice, he got to be 27. The league said, we're not bringing you back. Anyway,
some other things there too, but
well, right. But you understand my point. 27. I just don't know if running backs can win football games because. Anyway, I don't want to break down that position, but you're right. Maybe I'm anti-New Orleans a little bit because they showed Andy Dalton the door.
Okay, well, don't let that cloud your judgment.
Now he's in Carolina, and who knows what's happening there. Okay.
Well, he'll be mentoring the number one overall pick.
I've changed my mind on who that pick's going to be, by the way.
Oh, yeah? Who do you think now?
I think it's back to Bryce Young.
I think it's Bryce Young, too.
Yeah.
I've been sticking at Bryce Young.
Well, I got a little fooled when those odds went to Stroud. But now it feels like Bryce Young. But it'll change 3 more times. Bryce Young makes sense. Why would they jump Houston to get C.J. Stroud?
Well, that's the moment it happened. I'm like, why do you feel like you need to jump Houston?
It'd be fun if it was Anthony Richardson, though.
It'd be something.
Yeah, either way, who are they throwing to there? That is
not DJ Moore anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think they still have Laviska Shenault.
Yeah.
And anyway, okay, here's one more signing I like. The Miami Dolphins signed linebacker David Long Jr., who is a Titan. Whatever you watch the Titans, that guy is flying around. And I understand it's hard for fans to understand what the real value of a linebacker is. Because the NFL, cognoscente, don't seem to value linebackers at all. But we see him making all the plays. I know he's
controlling the middle of the field. And, yeah.
He's supposed to be a little undersized. Miami, all of a sudden, with Vic Fangio, has a defense. I don't know what it means because they're still dependent on Tua's health. But he's a really good player.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey, the trade for Ramsey. They still have Xavier Howard. I saw people thought he was going to get released, but I don't think so.
Yeah, so
maybe still, but I don't see it.
It's weird. They have this incredibly high octane offense, and now all of a sudden they have this big name defense. It's going to be a really interesting experiment. But the AFC East is a beast, so I don't know what difference it's going to make.
Those were some under the radar NFL moves we liked in free agency. So if you missed our last segment. We've been revealing the Maggie and Perloff bracket of things that are just the worst. And we did not crowdsource this. we just, the four of us, me, Perloff, and Stu, and Mike, we all just put ideas into the hopper and came up with 64. But now I kind of wish we had crowdsourced it.
We got some good ones?
Yes. Kemba Tales is in the chat. We're on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. And, man, he came with the ammo today.
What's he got?
People who smell like patchouli. Beaded curtains separating a room. People who say literally but mean figuratively. That's
good.
Definitely would have made our bracket.
It's a high seed.
That's a high seed.
That literally could have been the number one.
Very good.
Actually, you could just say people who say literally. Although my daughters say literally all the time.
But when you mean figuratively, it is the worst.
That feels a little elitist to me because whatever. Anyway.
No, it's great. He also said scenes in movies where they pour a glass of wine. John Wick shootout scenes are less noisy. Apparently, that's pretty good. But I love that. People who say literally but mean figuratively.
You know what's funny? The patchouli thing. I'm not sure. I have a lot of allergies. I don't have the greatest sense of smell. You could just see when somebody smells like patchouli.
Yeah, I've got a friend who wore patchouli, and she's definitely a hippie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's the hair and everything.
The flowers in your hair, like the headbands, the big oversized glasses.
Did you ever see that movie where John Cusack owned a record store?
Yes, High Fidelity.
High Fidelity,
Yeah.
and Tim Robbins played the patchouli smoking neighbor who stole his girlfriend.
Yes, who was Catherine Zeta-Jones, right? Who is not identified as Catherine Zeta-Jones in the credits.
No. His girlfriend
is someone else.
But
Catherine Zeta-Jones is in that movie.
That was his ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
She was so obnoxious in that movie.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. High Fidelity, based on the Nick Hornby book. Yeah.
Hornsby, right?
Hornsby, whatever.
Wait, is it Hornsby? No, Bruce Hornsby. I'm thinking of it different.
Yeah, this is a great Friday. You know it's a great Friday when Bruce Hornsby in the Range comes up.
Yeah, sorry.
Stu, by the way, was 0 years old when his
doesn't
big
know
hit.
that one.
When his big, you know Bruce Hornsby?
No idea who you're talking about.
Oh, you know the guy on the piano.
Stu's born in the 90s.
What is the name of his famous song that I'm completely forgetting? The Way It Is.
Yeah.
Just the way it is. Nothing.
No.
He's got blonde curly hair.
Yeah.
Which does not help.
No, we just got to end it. Stu has no clue what we're talking about.
That'd be a fun bit someday. What musicians has Stu never heard of that we know?
It's going to make us feel old. As if we don't feel old enough. Okay. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Checking in on the NCAA tournament here on the men's side. And possible, Perloff. We've had no upsets yet. So.
Oh, no. I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we still have a little bit to go. It's about 13 minutes left to go. But 11th ranked Pitt has a 10-point lead right now on Iowa State. Pitt was playing in the first four. And you got UConn and Iona. A very, very close game here. We're keeping our eye on everything for you guys. You're at a one-stop shop. It's the Maggie and Perloff show. Coming up next, as we do every Friday, Advice Duck is in the house. Still time. You want to get your questions, your conundrums, anything you have. Maggie Gray exits the room, and the Advice Duck in the suit comes in. Thank you. Still have time for your questions. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff. If you want to watch the Advice Duck, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff show. So it is Friday, which means Advice Duck. I wish the Advice Duck was earlier this week so I could have asked about my bracket, because I definitely could have used a little more advice from the Advice Duck. Now, does Advice Duck have good bracket advice?
Terrible. The Duck,
well, it can't be
bracket is toast.
It can't be that much worse than Maggie Gray and Andrew Perloff.
Never heard of Maggie Gray, but yeah, no, the Advice Duck, turns out her picks suck just like the rest of everyone's, just like the rest of America.
Probably at Oregon in the Final Four.
Yeah, but I just looked it up. Oregon's in the NIT, so she had to win in the
Final
NIT.
Four of the NIT.
Yeah. The advice duck always goes Oregon, so she's not engaged this year. Because
Are there any other duck teams? I don't think so.
I thought the Paladins were ducks, but apparently they're not.
Those are pelicans. All right, advice duck is in the house today, and really excited whenever we get questions from people we know.
Great.
Of course, anyone's able to weigh in. You can always send your questions, Maggie and Perloff at gmail.com. You can reply to any of our tweets. We'll see you. Just use the hashtag AdviceDuck. Our buddy Damon Amendolara weighing in from the morning show here at CBS Sports Radio said, do you consider getting really drunk on St. Paddy's Day, honoring the holiday or amateur hour? Now, it's not so much, it is a philosophical question, and I appreciate it coming from Damon. It is amateur hour. I'm going to go with Perloff on this one.
Okay.
Now, I had to go back and look up the actual history of St. Patrick's Day because I didn't really know. So after looking it up and understanding who Patrick is, the patron saint, people would celebrate his life and then, unfortunately, his eventual death in the year 461. I mean,
he was going to die at some point.
At some point. This is such a long time ago. We've really mythologized this saint. So I don't think the intention was to get as rowdy and as drunk as some people do on this day. It was to have a nice, light, festive affair. It wasn't to get blackout drunk and puke all over everything.
Well, it's really become a way to celebrate Irish heritage, right?
Yes. Now that is now in the United States.
Yes.
People immigrated over.
Yeah. Did you get in your research? Is St. Patrick's Day the same kind of celebration in Ireland?
So it started off as, some revelry with some drinks and food and music. So, yeah. And it was like a traditional dinner or meal of some sort of like meat and I had it here. Here's what it was. So it usually falls during Lent. So according to this, what I was reading on the internet's never wrong.
Of course.
The Lenten prohibitions against the consumption of meat were waived, and people would dance, drink, and feast on the traditional meal of Irish bacon and cabbage. And I got this from historychannel.com.
I'm into all that.
Yeah, I know.
That sounds good. Hey, when is the corned beef and cabbage coming?
Never. I mean, I don't know why you thought that they were going to have that here today. Yeah. I can wrestle you up like a day-old slice of pizza.
Listen, in my earlier days, I loved a good party, and I loved a good holiday. I just did not I thought St. Patrick's Day in New York got really sloppy, and you know what I'm talking about.
It definitely does. I mean, I was a bartender at an Irish bar in St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
That must have been. And were you cleaning up vomit for 8 hours?
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
I made a lot of money and cleaned up a lot of vomit.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was a stage 3 alcoholic on most days. I didn't need everybody else joining the revelry.
It just made more crowded.
And I hated New Year's Eve because you couldn't get a cab in addition to... So anyway.
No, people are just like falling into the streets.
We do think it's great to celebrate Irish heritage.
Absolutely.
I have been to Dublin, and...
How was it?
It was great. I've never told you the story.
No, what happened in Dublin?
Oh, boy. I might need the advice. My brother and I accidentally walked into a S&M leather bar.
Wait, what? In Ireland?
Yeah, I've told you this story about Dublin, how we were reading the Lonely Planet guide before the days of the internet.
What?
In our early 20s, my brother and I were visiting Dublin, and we saw there was this really great bar, and we accidentally walked into the wrong bar.
Oh, you went to the bar next door?
We went to the bar next door where everybody was wearing leather, and there were whips and chains and everything going on.
Oh, my gosh.
And we're wearing, like, J. Crew outfits.
Were you like, if I had too much Guinness, or is that guy wearing a leash?
Yeah, I mean, and 4 hours later when we left.
Yeah, right. The next day when you crawled out of there.
Yeah, and apparently Dublin has a thriving S&M bar scene.
Wow.
I know, it's Friday. I hope a lot of people are watching the tournament and not listening to this.
No, this is good stuff here. We're really learning a lot about Dublin.
Since I'm a nerd, I went to read the Book of Celts, and Dublin's a wonderful, wonderful city. There's a lot more to do than go to wild bars.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's funny. Did you turn in about face and go out, or did you stay for for a drink and be like, we wonder what this is like?
No. We actually about faced, but it was hysterical. You had to be there because the bouncer was laughing the entire time. Full on Irish babe, because he could tell like something was way off.
You guys like holding a map, wearing backpacks, like looking like tourists.
I was such a nerd, Maggie. I think I had the tour book in my hand at night, 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night or something. I walked up to the bar, so I think I would have been out of place at any bar.
Yeah, it's like 1 pint of your finest Irish beer.
Then there's a place called Temple Bar in Dublin, which is like Mardi Gras every night of the year. It's a gigantic bar scene and party. Everyone's drinking Guinness. People are really cool. It's a really fun place. Very close too. 6-hour flight.
Yeah, no, that's from the East Coast. Dublin is not far.
Yeah. Anywho, can we edit this out of the podcast too?
Any other,
the last 5 minutes?
Any other unique bars you visited?
By accident?
Yeah.
Probably. Have you ever done that? Walked into the wrong bar and been like, whoa, this is not my scene?
I've walked into a couple places where it's like, whoa, this isn't my scene. But never anything that was like a kink fetish. No.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. This was a real deal. Asked my brother David about it. There were people with full black leather masks on in the bar. Wow. I don't even know how they were drinking.
Something. Yeah, you have to unzip the zipper over your mouth and then.
Good times. And when I stumbled out of there at 4 a.m.
Yeah, wearing leather pants. Someone else's leather pants.
Does that answer Damon's question?
I think that will suffice.
Isn't there another advice duck question? Can we clear the palate of that one?
Sure. We had one from Jeffrey, who is also in the chat. I know he was doing this to joke around, but I'm reading this book actually on philosophy right now. I was reading the book How to Be Perfect, which is Mike Schur, who was one of the lead writers on Parks and Rec and The Office.
Yeah.
You know, couple
sports website back in the day. Fire Joe Morgan.
Yeah, Fire Joe Morgan. He's got a book How to Be Perfect. The Good Place was he was the showrunner on that. So it's a philosophy book. So Jeffrey Howell, who's in the chat but did this one on Twitter, said, "Dear Advice Duck, I've told so many lies to so many people about so many things that I've lost track of what I told to whom. My only solution seemed to be A, tell everyone the truth from here on out and come what may, or B, run away and start over. What would you advise?"
You asking me or the duck?
Well, this is for the duck.
Yeah, duck. What do you say?
Run away. You're never
change your identity.
Yeah, you got to change everything. You got to run away, start over a whole new life, because you're never going to be able to fully win back everybody's trust. I hate to say it, but once you're known as a liar, it's really hard to ever convince people that you've really changed your ways. So I think your only solution is just to start a new life. Now, the question is, when you start a new life, do you do the radical telling the truth in your new life, or do you still keep lying? That I don't have the answer to. Only you know that, Jeffrey.
I think if you start telling the truth right now in your current life, I think people will respect your new ways. Everyone loves a comeback story.
No, but nobody likes the truth. See, we think we like the truth, but we really don't. No one actually wants to know if that shirt you're wearing is ugly, you know?
I think we should all aspire to cut out little lies. It's hard to do. Try and go 2 days without telling any mistruth. It's harder than you think, especially when you have kids. Because you have to lie to those suckers.
I know. Like, why can't we go to Disney World today? It's like, because it's closed.
Yeah. Do you, as a person, aspire to be as honest as possible?
No, I don't aspire to that at all. I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Right.
And I don't think there's I don't think radical telling the truth is like the way to go. And I don't lie to people on the big things.
Yeah.
But for the little things, we're all just trying to get through the day here. Delusion is what gets me out of bed every day.
I think the little lies are way more corrosive than you think.
Really?
I'm not saying I'm any better than you. I do them too. I think they add up, and I think if we all should aspire to be more honest and to make our lives a lot easier. I'm talking about emotional honesty. No, I think first of all, the truth is the easiest thing to remember.
Yeah,
that is something that should be on all of our to-do lists.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? It depends, because who is the person you're telling these truths to? Do they even want the truth? Well, so, without asking, if I said, "Do you like my haircut?" and you're like, "Well, no," what did that really accomplish for you?
Okay.
It hurt my feelings. You get the radical honesty, but what did we accomplish there?
Yeah, but that is not really where most of our lies come from.
Oh, okay.
Track your lies. I mean, is it really?
Well, my name's not actually Maggie Gray, so where do you want to start? I'm just kidding. It's my name.
I find, okay, maybe I'm speaking for myself. More often, my wife will be like, why is so-and-so, why is the upstairs bedroom such a mess? My instinct will be to make an excuse.
Blame your kids.
Yeah. Or little things like that. It'd be like, honey, I'm so sorry. I was too busy preparing dinner and doing the dishes when in reality I was sitting on my couch watching Alaska shows on Netflix.
And filling out multiple NCAA tournament brackets.
Yeah, it's little lies like that I think are corrosive.
I think we'll take the spouses out of it.
That's the thing. You can't do that.
I know, but I am pretty honest. I am honest with my husband.
Even about little things? Say you guys are arguing about something?
I think so, but that's, we're so close to each other.
You never have excuses? Oh, my gosh.
Well, it's very different because, I'm the wife in the situation. And so my husband, what does he always need? Answers.
Yeah, that's true.
He always needs answers. He doesn't need answers from me. It's not the same.
Should I come home and tell my wife that she's last in the Maggie and Perloff bracket? Or is that alive? She's going to say, how am I doing in the bracket?
Say there's a lot of tournament left.
Advice duck.
Okay.
My wife comes home. Let's role play a little bit here.
Yes. She's in the duck suit.
It's getting
weird. Which is random. Thank you.
My wife says, hey, how am I doing in the Maggie and Perloff show bracket?
I would tell her, your champion is still alive.
Great.
You pick Gonzaga, still alive in the tournament, so you still got a chance.
How about the team that they're playing, Arizona?
They're out. Yeah. You're last for now. Because that's the truth, actually. She's only last for now.
Yeah, I'm still in it, so you guys are going to catch up.
Yeah, so she hasn't hit rock bottom like Stu is destined to do. Honestly, I came in dead last year. It's only right that someone from the show comes in dead last.
Definitely,
so
yes.
Thank you, Stu. You'll eventually get there.
I'm curious from the non-married people in the room here. Do you guys constantly tell little lies, or is that something that people do in a partnership? Well,
Stu's a producer of a radio show. He must lie.
Oh, no.
We're like, how did that segment go? He's like, great. How was your sports minute? Awesome. Like, he's in a must-lie situation. He can't tell us the truth.
No, I think Stu is actually that sunny of a person.
Yeah, you might be.
There might be a white lie here and there.
Yes.
How about Ack? You seem pretty honest.
Radical honesty.
I am as honest as they come.
Yeah, I believe that.
I can't lie. I can't hold it.
I believe that out of Ackerman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has that gained you friends or lost friends?
Probably a little bit of both.
Super honest. That's a very honest answer.
So, I'm not an easy guy.
What do you think of the advice duck segment? No,
don't answer that. Yeah, don't want to know.
Anything weird that happens on the Maggie and Perloff show, it comes right before Ack is about to do a CBS Sports update. That is one rule of the show.
It's the rule of the universe.
Yeah. We have the whole hour is normal, but that 2 minutes when Ack walks in, it gets odd.
It must be like my presence that changes, that brings like some atmospheric change.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it just gets really weird.
Like it's a beautiful day before I walk in, and by the time I walk in, like the clouds come and the storm is like hovering over.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. It's definitely a thing. 855-212-4CBS.
The visual of this, Maggie in her full yellow duck costume talking to Ack is amazing.
Beamtown says, always lie when she asks, do I look fat? I mean, that's easy. That's just layups right there. Because honestly, like, what joy what do you get out of being honest in that point?
Nothing. All right. I have a friend who practiced radical honesty. I have to ask him this weekend, and he explained it to me once.
Wow, and he's still alive?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
For him, it's a spiritual principle, and it makes perfect sense, but I have to ask him how he deals with those kind of questions.
Yeah, the day-to-day stuff. Do I look fat in this?
Well, I'm sure he doesn't want to hurt other people's feelings, so maybe he abstains. Do I look fat in this?
No comment?
Yeah. No comment. Next question. On to Cincinnati.
Yeah, right. Just Belichick your way out of it. It's not going to work. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Got an update for you on the NCAA Tournament and the latest NFL free agency news. Here is Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Well, we have an entertaining one going on right now in Albany. At the half, it's 13-seeded Iona leading UConn 39-37. Rick Pitino's Gales shooting 6 of 11 from three-point range in the first half. And it has been an up-and-down game, and they have a 2-point lead over the 4th-seeded Huskies. Elsewhere right now, Pittsburgh leads Iowa State 44-30. They have led throughout. There's under 6 minutes left in the second half, and Creighton starting to pull away a little from NC State 56-47. Ryan Kalkbrenner with 26 right now for the Blue Jays. Earlier today, it was almost a surprise as Kennesaw State had been leading Xavier for much of the second half, but the Musketeers pull it out late, 72-67, while Baylor down UCSB 74-56. St. Mary's advances with a 63-51 win over Virginia Commonwealth. Michigan State down USC 72-62, and Marquette an easy winner over Vermont 78-61. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube and in the palm of your hand with
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. It's Friday. You made it. End of the week. Time for Casamigos shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. Perloff going outside the box, looking for a new type of bracket.
I'm looking at different rankings of philosophers where Thomas Hobbes, and I see him as high as 5 and then as low as 17. I might do my own bracket of great philosophers. You know, Kant, Hume, Kierkegaard. Would you think this will get traction?
Sure. Is there a social media platform just for nerds? By the way,
yeah, it's called Twitter. I mean, it is Friday. Don't people want to sit around and talk about the great philosophers and their contributions?
I'd rather rank the NFC quarterbacks, actually, if you don't mind. We rank the AFC. I mean, listen.
Some of these philosophers could probably start in the NFC.
Dig up the body of Aristotle, be starting for the Cardinals while Kyler Murray heals. I stand by it. How's that coming along?
It's going pretty good. Our buddy Nick Costos is in, and he wants to add psychologists, too, like Freud and Jung. I couldn't name a third psychologist. It's, there's a lot of debate. Is Yogi Berra a philosopher? That is the sports angle that everyone's wondering at.
Yeah, I think that's a solid yes. You worked with Yogi.
Yogi was brilliant in a very silly kind of way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's a lot of... Someone said, are you talking about Ray Nitschke? So there's some sports people on there instead of Nietzsche.
Instead of Nietzsche?
Yeah.
Didn't Shaq call himself the big Aristotle at some point?
Yeah, I think there's enough sports tie-ins to do philosophy. People seem to be into it. I don't know. You can basically do a bracket of anything these days.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. I took one philosophy class in college.
Yeah, we can tell.
Yeah, it made me dangerous because I just knew enough to get the name.
Just
enough to be obnoxious. Yes. That was the problem. I think I got a B+, but I had enough cocktail party conversation to last my whole life.
Now you've passed all that on to us. Lucky us. We've got to get to Joe Burrow, who was on the Today Show today, Perloff, along with Joe Montana, and talking about the new era of quarterbacks.
There's more and more quarterbacks coming in this day and age that are well equipped to come in and be starters immediately and play well early. And I think that has to do with the way the game is being coached and grown from the youth level. Guys are throwing the ball more. Guys are throwing and catching. The receivers are getting better. So I think it's just an exciting time for the game.
Honestly, I felt like that could have been more of an answer for like Good Morning Football. I'm like, is the Today Show audience into this? But why I thought this was interesting, especially this time of year, it's like, when are they turning the beer green? But what I thought would have, why I think this is interesting is because it's a couple weeks before the NFL draft. And we're talking about these quarterbacks who were beyond Bryce Young and really before C.J. Stroud played that well against Georgia, we really weren't talking about this being a stellar class. Yet here we are, where we could have 4 quarterbacks come off the board in the top 6. Maybe we go straight up 1, 2, 3, 4 if Arizona trades out of the 3rd pick. It's possible that this class has now propelled itself up. And we talk about the Kansas City model and how, it's better to sit a guy like an Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. Are these guys going to be ready, let alone Stroud or Bryce Young? But Burrow just said it right there. These guys are being asked to step right in right away. He thinks it's partly because of coaching, but they're just ready to go. That's the reality.
Well, it's a couple things. It's 7-on-7, which is an obsession out there now. So guys are doing passing drills all year long. High schools are running passing offenses. When I was young, everyone ran basically had 2 pass plays that they never even used. So the whole sport has changed. By the time the guy gets to college, he's already thrown more passes than guys used to throw in their entire pre-NFL career. But that being said, we fell for a lot of this last year, and it makes me wonder. Remember Malik Willis handed his gear to a homeless guy outside the combine?
Yeah, that was a nice moment.
That was a nice moment, and he was in the top 10 of a lot of mock drafts. He was in the first round of almost every mock draft.
Yeah.
He fell to the 3rd round. So I was wondering, are we giving C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson and Will Levis a combine bump, and does that all calm down, and do they settle down a little further? It could be like last year.
I think that combined with next year's class.
But yes.
But yeah, I know. But
the great next year's class.
Yes, it's next year's class. The phantom. It's always wait till next year. But in a different kind of way.
Let me say one scenario. Say that Carolina did trade up to number 1 to get Bryce Young, who we think Houston might have been interested in.
Yeah.
Maybe Houston goes Will Anderson, number 2, and gets a quarterback in the 2nd round with Hendon Hooker.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't see it happening. Just because this is what the lie that teams tell themselves all the time. We're never going to be picking this high again.
Not the Texans don't tell themselves that.
Well, most teams, this is the lie that they tell themselves. We'll never be picking this high again, so we've got to go quarterback here. And I think that, and then if they turn out to be a bust, then we'll address it. And, we're probably not going to be here to see that anyway if you're the general manager.
Yeah, I was wondering if the Houston Texans, the way they're designed right now, might be the one franchise that would look towards next year, because they're a very, very young team everywhere. And even if they draft Bryce Young, they might not win a lot of games, and then they'll be right back in the top 5 next year. You have to admit, if you had to say a team that does not have a lot of pressure to win right now, the Houston Texans are high up there.
Well, but that's from our vantage point. I mean, I don't know if you're in Houston and if you watched basically your quarterback, who at the time you thought was like the golden boy of the NFL, says straight up, I'm not playing for you anymore. I mean, that was a really dicey thing that Deshaun Watson did at the time. Just straight up, I'm not playing. And then all the stuff comes out about him later, which clouds the way we look at him. But, I mean, that's crazy. You got to get that bad taste out of your mouth, right? You've got to find the next guy. I love this from RPC is in the chat said with Burrow talking about quarterbacks being ready to play, and he was sitting there with Joe Montana on the Today Show. He said Montana was probably thinking this kid would have gotten killed in my NFL. True, but Burrow could play in any era.
Burrow would be fine. He does seem old school. Yeah, Montana would be great now because smaller quarterbacks don't get hit anymore. Montana had a lot of concussion problems.
Oh, and remember we talked about the Super Bowl. He was talking about his elbow with the tendon being off the bone or whatever, the muscle being off the bone.
That's the other thing, too. Back to that quote. The rules are way different now. They do help quarterbacks big time. But I mean, Bryce Young would have been a 7th-round pick in Joe Montana's day. Bryce Young would
have never saw the field.
We were right next to Joe Montana. I mean, I never thought of Joe Montana as big. But back to Texas, by the way, D'Amico Ryans is 38 years old. There is no pressure on that dude. Anyone who expects him to win immediately.
I know, but the Texans have had three coaches in 3 years.
Yeah, well, they had Lovie Smith and David Culley.
Yeah.
There's no pressure here. There's no way. They cannot expect that dude to win. If they did, I would have taken another job if I was him.
I don't know. I mean, you're going to have – I think they're going to have a quarterback with the 2nd overall pick. Do you
really want
You're looking at the rest of the teams.
Second best quarterback in that class.
Well, you're looking at the rest of the teams in the division, and you're thinking, why not have a well, listen, they're not going to be better than Jacksonville, but you think to yourself, why not? That's the one way we're going to get into the playoffs is if they win the division. I mean, look at the rest of the AFC. It's incredible. You might as well go for it. Weird things happen in the AFC South.
It is.
The Colts are doing nothing. The Titans are doing nothing. You just have to get by Jacksonville, which is a big if.
It's the Texans.
I know. There's always one team that goes from worst to first. Usually is.
Gigantic show bet that it's not the Houston Texans.
I'm not making that bet.
Yeah. You got to give.
I don't really trust the people who are in charge there.
No, you got to do this the right way. You got to do this a slow build right now. They've drafted okay. Nick Caserio's not done a bad job drafting at all. He's got Dameon Pierce last year.
He's got a gajillion picks.
Yeah.
And more coming their way from the Watson deal.
I don't know. I think I'm going to be a next year's quarterback class guy.
You don't believe in any of these guys?
I do believe in them, but I do think for it to go 1, 2, 3, 4 with this class is kind of weird. I mean, to talk about what Joe Burrow's saying, yes, quarterbacks are more ready than ever. But it's funny. You're telling me Will Levis is more ready than ever?
No. He's not.
Yeah, he did not succeed in college.
And Anthony Richardson is not more ready than ever.
Yeah, they're very inexperienced. It's funny that we're talking about this. Man, we got really football serious here in the last segment.
Listen, I love it.
It's like Joe Burrow going next level football on
to the Today Show. It's like, and coming up next, we're making your favorite Irish soda bread.
So
really switch gears there.
I have a bad feeling about the tournament this weekend that I'm going to come in Monday and close to last place. I just think that, especially that Auburn-Houston game, Maggie, I'm really nervous. I'm not feeling good about my bracket.
Why? Because you have Houston going to your Final Four?
I have Houston winning the entire tournament.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I'd feel great if I were you.
Yeah. Now, a groin injury for Marcus Sasser, that sounds bad.
You think? I mean,
well, I talked
not
myself.
What you want.
I kept saying, you know what, because he was hurt before, that this is not going to sink them. But I don't know. I'm just glad it's very unpredictable.
I think it's going to be a great weekend. I think right now, since we have not had an upset so far today, and Creighton, the 6th seed, is now pulled away just a tiny bit. They have a 6-point lead over 11-seeded NC State with under 2 minutes left to go. Looks like that one could stay chalk. Everybody, all eyes now on Iona. Iona against UConn. Yeah. Maybe that could be our upset of the day.
That'd be huge. I have Creighton going very far.
And so then Rick Pitino's going to, take the St. John's job in between rounds?
I don't know. If he can beat UConn, why not just stay at Iona?
I think there's going to be a lot more money involved. Stu Kovacs, on this St. Patrick's Day, can we give it up for Stu? One-man banding it today. And Andrew Kaplan, who's taking care of all of our social today, is a giant. And we absolutely love him.
That's radical honesty, too.
Yeah.
We're being truthful.
Radically honest. The Weedos, the Purple Drankers, have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.